Good evening, everyone. Welcome to What a Roll. And it's a very special episode today we have for you. Of course, I am Jbazza, the host. With me are my co-hosts, Mr. Marv. Say hello, Marv.
Hello, that's my name.
And Mr. Divvot. Say hello, Divvot.
That's my name.
And yes, as I said, it's a special episode. We've reached a landmark episode today. I don't think either of us or any of us thought we'd reach this. It's our first episode! Woo! Yes.
Indeed.
So what do you think? One episode. We are 30 seconds into our first episode. What do you think of it so far?
I think we should trash it. We're done here.
We can't go any better.
It's not going to get any better. So, bye guys, bye. No, that's not going to happen. But because it's our first episode, we have two very special guests for you today. Joining us far, far from the GRUMBBL region of the world, it is Mr. Seven-Tail Wolf.
Yo, hello.
And Mr. Aramis.
Hello.
So, for those of you who don't know these two very special guests, introduce yourselves. Tails, you first.
Hello, I am the League Commissioner and all-round Admiral of this very creaky rowboat, which is GRUMBBL. And we've lost the oars as well. I'm in charge of
oars?
No, we never really had them, but we're paddling nonetheless. But yes, so I am the League Commissioner. That is what I do, and I do bits of everything.
So please address all your complaints about this podcast to him. Me, Divvot, and Marv don't want to hear them. We will just use them for the Steam engine.
Yeah, if you could put them in that comments box, which is right above the shredder, yeah, that'd be great.
And Mr. Aramis, introduce yourself.
If Shane is in charge of the rowboat, I'm the one making sure it doesn't leak. I'm the one with the hammer. I'm the one with the hammer and the nails, making sure the boards get boarded up. No, I'm the technical support staff probably. I built the website myself along with one of the other guys as well. Do the graphic design along with Tails as well actually. So yeah, so I'm the guy doing all the magic, while Tails is just the not so pretty face at the front end doing all the important stuff. Also, I'm an analysis person, apparently.
The master of analytics. That's what I gave you.
Master of analytics. That's the one. Yeah, that's the title that I'm clutching onto. It's mine.
Yes. So clearly, you're all here. You know what we're about. You probably know us. I hope.
I
think so.
Welcome. So we are here, obviously, to introduce Season 1 of GRUMBBL's Blood Bowl League.
Indeed.
And what is that Blood Bowl League, you say? Well, it is 2 divisions, 10 teams each division. 1 round robin per division, followed by a full-on cup between both of the divisions. So, you've got some full division-on-division action here.
Normally you have to pay double for that.
Yeah, normally you have to pay double for that. We're doing it, apparently, for free. Until we get our Patreon set up. Please give us money, please. Anyone got a tin can?
Aramis has been eating scraps for the past 3 years.
I have, yeah. No.
Wait, Aramis ate stuff other than scraps?
Yeah, hold on. I can't get my money
Before the dark times.
Turns out a diet of just bites and bits is not sufficient for a human body.
Hold on.
Oh God, my ears.
There you go. You're welcome.
I did not thank you in any way.
You didn't need to.
This is why he's not a regular host.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, just the acknowledgement there. Yeah, fair enough.
Even I wouldn't have myself as a guest every week. It's a pain in the ass.
So I don't know about you guys, but I'm thoroughly looking forward to getting into this season.
Oh God, yeah.
A lot of good stuff in the 2 divisions.
I'm so excited for this league. You have no idea.
Yeah, super hype. Don't want to get into it now because otherwise we'll have nothing to talk about later.
Well, oddly enough, we're going to segue into the teams because
transition.
we managed to catch up and get early. I hope that's all right with you, Divvot.
That's fine. I'm ready to go. I'm the stream man.
Streamlabs has been really messing you around.
Let's
today.
hope these fancy transitions work.
That you spend how long working on?
A lot. Less time rendering them, more time making them try and work.
Yeah, so if Streamlabs is screwing you over, then...
Then we'll default
Put
to
it this way,
wallpaper.
that's setting the bar for this podcast.
Yep, pretty
That's
much.
what you can expect every time.
What's this podcast going to involve every week, besides this week, which is a special episode?
Me, Divvot, and Marv basically chatting a load of bollocks, so it's going to be the same thing as this week, basically, but we just talk about what's happened during the week. So we'll be talking about the games that we've watched, streamed, casted, what we thought about them, basically giving our opinions. So if you don't like hearing people's opinions, maybe.
Please watch and give us your own.
Yes. Give us your own so we can respond. We don't want to shout people down. If people don't like what we say, feel free to reply.
If you don't like hearing opinions about the league, you should watch the Reroll Show, which is just facts about the league.
Yes, if you don't want to hear me, Divvot, and Marv say, we'd have liked to have seen this play or that play, I don't know.
And if you
it's
don't
easy to
like,
talk with hindsight, we're just analysing.
If you don't hear anything, just go to the website. There's no sound on
It's fine.
Pure fact.
This
no
website.
sound.
What's that website link again?
That website is GRUMBBL.co.uk. That is GURMBBL.co.uk. If you're feeling up to it, you can always type the https:// if you really feel like it.
//
If you want to find out all of our cool shit is on there. It's got a standings page, it's got a fixtures page, it's got an events page, it's got trophies, it's got that's it.
Face.
That's about it. It's got Marv's face.
That's it. That's everything.
It's all there is. There's no black trickle hookers on there. I'm afraid that's it's a feature I'm installing next time.
We're patching it at the moment. It's fine.
It's patching,
Almost
mate.
as if we didn't even plan that segment, but we're just that good.
Let's not talk about patching, shall we? Let's not talk about fixing shit.
Let's talk about this ship that's sinking, shall we?
Let's talk about the video that randomly stopped working and then randomly started working again for no reason.
For no reason.
That is
Literal
GRUMBBL in a
reason.
nutshell.
Yeah, pretty much.
For no reason.
So a fire that occasionally puts itself out.
The question I was going to ask Jbazza was: are you going to have some of the team coaches on the podcast every
Once
week?
in a while. If there was
Every
a
once in a while.
very interesting game that we wanted to get another opinion on or ask someone about, or if someone's just going on an absolute rampage, then we might be tempted.
Hopefully
Okay.
not Figgy or Aurora. Anyone else can rampage.
Or Tails. Hold on a minute. Tails has got just as many trophies as they do. Let's just put him on that list as well.
Hold on a second.
I mean, I am Tails for his goblins, but
That's fair.
I mean, this is Tails' turn on the podcast. He now has to wait until everyone else has gone through.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Shall we start looking
So-
at teams?
I suppose so.
Yeah, we are slightly ahead of the schedule. No. So yes, let's go to the teams. Let's start numerically with Division 1.
Hey.
So Aaron,
One would also
who have
add,
we got first?
First up is the side quest 2, Casualties, The Reckoning.
Yes, coached by Adako, the necromantic team, coming in at team value of 980. Ooh, let's have a
ooh,
look.
that's a nice transition.
Smooth AF.
I've
Also,
got to wait for it to catch up. Come on, iPod, show me. I'm looking at the screen, but show me the transition.
Also to mention this, while they are for now named Division 1 and 2, this is not no comment on coach's ability. This is just how we
Seeding.
group together.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Marv. I guess I should pick that up quickly as the league commissioner. I put people into the divisions. We've done 3 seasons up to this point, and then we kind of rebranded to GRUMBBL. We were previously SideQuest Invitational. So we've run 3 seasons up until this point. We've grown massively every time. We've got 8 new coaches this year.
9 actually.
Oh, 9 technically, but
Yeah,
8
'cause-
more coaches than we had last year, or last season rather.
Yeah.
And we're doing a semi-perpetual style so that you can carry your teams on for several seasons, and then after a certain number of seasons, we will wipe the teams. Well, not wipe them. We will just say only fresh teams in the next season for everybody.
But that doesn't stop you from resetting if you wanted to do a new team in the
Yes, so between season 1 and 2 you can reset, but you can also choose to keep your team on. And then I think it will probably be between seasons 3 and 4 we will say for season 4 everybody must enter fresh teams. But that means, so there's like a relegation and promotion system between the divisions as between each season. Obviously, for this first season, we had to put people somewhere. And we've got a bunch of new people, but then we've got old people and stuff. And so, yeah, and a whole bunch of different teams. And we had to seed people somehow. Yeah, we had to see people somehow, and what I tried to do was split up the teams so that there wasn't that many teams of the same race in the divisions to start off with. And then some of the new people sort of came as like friends and stuff, so we tried to keep them together. So, as Marv said, the seeding has nothing really to do with like player skill or who's better or who's worse. I mean, like, just to put it one way, I won a trophy season 1, as did Aramis, and then I'm the most recent cup champion, and I'm in division 2. So it's no, like, if you were doing it purely based on like wins and stuff, I should be in division 1.
In theory, it should even out.
So he put himself in division 1.
He does, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to make it easier for myself.
I mean, in theory, it should even out over the next couple of seasons anyway.
Yeah, that's the point with it, is this first season we have to put somebody somewhere. After people have been placed, any new coaches will go in the bottom division the bottom division, and they will just slowly even out, and you will end up where you end up. So this first season is not a reflection of skill for seeding. Thank you, Mark.
Team, I've just had this team open the entire time.
This team as well. That's a very nice introduction. I was happy with that.
Right.
We went off on a damn tangent again.
That's just like getting this podcast.
Like the whole point of our content.
Isn't it just to stall this out? Like a good dwarf team, we're just trying to stall this content out for as long as possible.
Don't talk about dwarves in this room.
I forgot that was a curse word. Sorry.
Go.
Right.
We are not stalling this out.
The team.
Necromantic.
Fucking Necro.
Side quest casualties.
2.
The Reckoning.
We're doing Chinese whispers. What the fuck's going on?
Look, just because you have no charisma within this group.
Oof.
Wow.
Anyway,
stayed with true charisma.
Big oof.
Anyway, so we have 2 flesh golems, 2 werewolves, 2 whites, and 5 zombies.
No ghouls.
Thoughts? Yes, no ghouls. Well spotted. Thoughts, people, anyone?
Yeah, so first to point out, the naming scheme is very nice. It's basically the second iteration of the team he played before, which has all the people that died in the previous seasons. And special mention here in this case to Sage Coinbearer, only player in League history that died 3 times.
You're welcome.
That was fun.
Ugh. That was painful for me.
Basically, this is just to get a bit more in depth into it. This is basically like one of 2 necromantic builds that you can go, and this is basically the flesh golem build. You either sacrifice the ghouls for the golems, or the other way around, the golems for the ghouls. So this is a more I know, right? This is more of a strength thing, which kind of suits Adam's Adical's playstyle. If you have watched the last couple of seasons, he does very like his strength. He's very bash. He's very bash-centric. He is. Yeah, he does like to really get in your face and sort of like just go for removals, and it's very effective. Last season was a bit of a it didn't exactly go to plan, but season 2 is but if you look at his season 2 team, the undead, who are very, very similar to necromantic, he was, I think, probably one of the, with the exception of the Victor Aurora at the end, probably the best team.
Yeah,
with the exception. Again, he got nuffled in the semi-finals. He
did, yeah. He did.
That was a thorough nuffling, as so Tails will agree, I hope.
I think I well deserved that coin flip.
Yeah, I mean, it's that team deserved to play the final and was robbed, I say. Also, I mean, it's also a good sign in general that, like, we literally changed the rules because of this incident. So the team deserved it. Yeah, Nuffle fucked your idea twice. Once with the coin flip, and then the next season's punishment gave your dwarf's pillow fizz.
It all started with that coin flip. It all started.
But anyway, without the ghouls, yeah, both the werewolves and the whites are perfectly capable ball carriers.
I think so.
Wash your hands and then.
I think I would. This is the build that I would go with. As much as I'd like ghouls, I prefer them on an undead team because they provide you with that speed. Because you've got the movement 8 on the werewolves, you're not really lacking in the speed department anymore.
No option of an apothecary anywhere to regen on the, or to discount the regen. No regen on those.
I mean, ghouls, you just kind of have to expect them to die in droves and just keep buying them and buying them, but don't get too attached to them. I like to use ghouls as ball sackers, chuck wrestle on them, and they become these really effective sort of get out of the tackle zone, bring a guy down pieces. But werewolves are just as good at that. Obviously, Frenzy gives them 2 chances to get a ball down. Claw is ridiculous. And movement 8, they're actually faster than ghouls. Ghouls, I believe, are movement 7. So
yeah, movement 7, armor 7. So
they have dodge.
But they do have dodge. Yes, they have a little bit of survivability. The only thing about werewolves is they have huge targets on their back.
You have to protect them as the other necro coach in the other division.
I'm enjoying all this information I'm receiving about my first opponent.
They're probably going to get fouled. They're going to get hit by mighty blow players. They're probably going to get pushed off the pitch. You know, there's quite a lot of frenzy in both divisions, so you've got to be really careful. And they're only agility 3. You know, although you can dodge out of things if you want to, they're not as reliable as a ghoul. And with
only 2 rerolls.
And only 2 rerolls as well.
The dodges themselves, you want to be using it for the blocks, especially with those werewolves.
Yeah, you don't really want to be dodging out of them. If you can, obviously, last minute things, absolutely. And obviously, their movement 8 means you're probably not going to have to make a go for it either. But they're a threat. You know, they're a real threat. Frenzy on the kickoff is a nightmare because you have to basically position your team further in, and if you play a more agility focused team, you don't want to do that. But
take away my tactics, lot.
Sorry.
Yes. I mean, that's the point of this show.
Is because we have mainly 2 teams of most of the teams we have. We can cover bits in the other division as well.
The other bit will just be covering the coach themselves.
I'm really interested in how Adam's going to play this, because
similar to his undead, I think.
I think the phrase "kill, maim, murder" springs to mind.
I mean, I was just looking at his season 2 record, and he did come second in the league stage with 28 casualties. The next highest casualties was 19, and that was the league winner. So 9 casualties more.
Which were down.
And now he's got claw.
You have to bear in mind that with he is the joint second highest casualties of all the teams that I've ever played.
Wow.
And that includes teams that have played way longer seasons than his season 2 team.
The Cynical Slayers were the other team to get 31 casualties, and they played 4 extra games.
Jeez.
And bear in mind they were dwarves as well. So
who's top? Was it the other dwarves from last season?
Figgy is 49 with the Figs Liqueurs, and then joint second is the Amazons, Undead, and Cynical Slayers dwarves.
That's
31.
crazy.
31. It's a ridiculous amount.
But I'm really interested to see how he's covered. I'm interested to see how he's going to play it, because I have a particular way I'm going to play mine. And when Aramis was like, "There are 2 ways you can build Necro," I'm clearly well off, because I'm not.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we will get.
By 2 ways of building Necro, I mean the 2 bog standard. Go on to BB tactics and find out what the thing is.
So that brings us to our second team, the Feywood Watchers, from the coach Aurora.
Bear with me. I need to go back and then in and then to the team roster.
I fucking love these logo transitions. They're absolutely beautiful.
There we go.
Yay!
So the Feywood Watchers from Aurora, weighing in at 970 team value, with 2 War Dancers and 9 linesmen.
Yep.
2 rerolls, no apothecary yet. And first thing is I have to point out my disappointment, because only 3 of those elves are actually like Sylvan elves. The rest of them are more high elves.
The teaming is wrong.
I'll tell you what my biggest disappointment is.
No thrower?
Where's the tree man?
Oh, the tree man, yeah.
Tree man.
Halfling.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You can't throw elves.
You can't throw elves. It's
Wish you could.
highly disappointing. I wish you could. I wish you could.
No. With Agility 4, I do not wish you could throw elves. That's
What? Hold on, what? Agility 4, movement 8. Through that. Yeah, I can't say such
What,
things.
with dodge, block, and leap? Yeah, sure, I'll throw that.
I need to go. I'm just going to adjust my trousers 1 second.
Oh dear.
Combining his two favorite things,
We've
halflings
been live
and elves.
30, well, not even 30 minutes, and it's already
22.
getting
Gone to
dirty.
shit.
22 minutes and 6 seconds.
Oh boy.
So this team.
This is scary. This is fucking scary. Aurora with her elves. Sorry, not her elves. Sorry, might as well have been elves. Amazon season 2 were, I think, a nightmare for everybody. Really,
Yes, but that's because they all started with
but
dodge.
I personally think that War Dancers are arguably the best piece in Blood Bowl. Maybe with a couple of exceptions. Block and dodge to start with. Agility 4 is a nightmare. They will get to you. There is no stopping those motherfuckers. So, and having 2 of them is good. Wood elves are really very effective. You'll see them top of tier list. You'll see them winning a lot of games. They do tend to obviously have paper thin armor. They're only armor 7, and those war dancers, even more so than the werewolves, have big targets on their backs.
Well, they're cage breakers because of leap.
Yeah. But everybody likes to injure a war dancer, even if it's not actually beneficial to them. They will hunt them down.
War dancers on the ground. You're sacrificing a player to kill that motherfucker.
They're 120k. It is more than worth it a lot of the time just to stick a lineman's boot into their face.
Also, it's like wondering, because there's elves, you don't need many more positionals. Like, you need your specialty guys. So for, in this case, the war dancers, and the linemen are for the start fine, because they can throw the ball and dodge nearly as well as the specialty guys for it, but just like the reroll skills basically. With Agility 4, you're mainly fine.
They're also, I think, faster than all of the other line elves with movement 7. So I think all of the other line elves are movement 6, definitely on the pros and dark elves. So they're just really good. They're really good line elves. Obviously, armor 7 means that you're probably going to be stuck with the few journeymen in the first couple of games, but give them a couple level ups and they're incredibly effective.
I'm so interested to see how this team performs, because I don't watch many other leagues play. I've seen ladder and I've seen like one-off tournaments, and a lot of especially IRL tabletop tournaments. Wood Elves are one of the teams there. But with a lot of tournaments, you have resurrection, which means your team gets revived. So casualties is not a concern for you quite so much.
Because you're just playing the same team for 3 games or 9 games or however long.
Over 2 or 3 days or whatever. So because of that, you only have to worry about being removed in a game. And being elves, you only really need 2 players to be able to pull off a score. Do you know what I mean?
One in your touchdown zone, the other in the other touchdown zone.
You don't.
That's great.
And seeing them in in ladder as well, they're less strong. But whenever I've played against them, they can often win. But the amount of times that I go up against teams that don't have any players.
Yeah,
just look at the last month, the last of 2018 CCL final, where the pro elf team had 5 players and the rest were journeymen. So it's
and that's the way you play. Wood elves is elves in a league. Generally, you play with journeymen. You always have journeymen, pretty much. And with wood elves, it's particularly worse, because not only do you have less survivability, but you have less armor than most other elves. At least even pro elves and dark elves and high elves have armor 8 on at least some of their pieces.
Pro elves have armor 8 on their blitzers.
Yeah. And so I'm really interested to see how this team develops, whether it's going to be going into season 2, essentially like this. Do you know what I mean? It could win the league, but it could go in essentially fresh.
Well, put it this way:
the
game 2 for the Wood Elves is Lizardmen. So,
what I'm more worried about for them is that they've got both dwarves and chaos dwarves in this league.
They do,
and the league as a whole is bashy. You've got Nurgle and undead and stuff. So,
first game is orcs and second game is Lizardmen for the Wood Elves. So,
I mean, as Aurora said herself, I think there's only 3 teams in the league that aren't bashy in a team in a league of 10, and she's one of them. So, you know,
I think the success or the failure of this team is going to be in the War Dancers and how Aurora, how Aurora decides to level them up. You know, do you turn them into pure blitzers and rely on the rest of the team to do the ball carrying, which you can do. Obviously, agility 4 makes things pretty easy. And, you know, it depends on how much the other teams want to just cripple those War Dancers, because they're expensive.
Yep.
And their pieces, see, as with my werewolves, it's something that, you know, I have to defend them because they are targets.
Yeah.
But I feel like War Dancers are so much more susceptible to damage. Not because you can knock them down easier, but when you do knock them down, you will foul them at any opportunity. Because with Armor 7, they're so survivable with block and dodge.
They're
any
a little
opportunity
bit
to foul them is worth it. Whereas with werewolves, at least you can keep knocking them down and keep getting armor breaks and stuff. It's a little bit less scary.
They're a little bit like gunner runners.
If they've not got their War Dancer, then you're taking that.
They're a bit like gunner runners. There's kind of a psychological aspect to War Dancers, and everybody fears them. I mean, and you should. Their block, dodge, agility 4, armor, movement 8 is insanely good. They're, as I said, one of the best pieces in the whole game, and because of that psychological effect, you're like, shit, I need to get rid of them. Okay, you know what? I'm going to throw some guys into the meat grinder at them.
What do you think her early stages of development are going to be? Obviously, she's got 30k in the bank to start with.
Apothecary next.
Going straight for apothecary. That's what I would do, but I'm interested. Yeah.
Apothecary next, then maybe look into catchers, because their catchers are really good. They're strength 2, but they're pretty.
This catchers are great.
Problem.
Yeah, I know they're great.
Speaking of catchers, do you know what you don't want to catch? Vampirism.
Now that's a transition.
So you started talking about catchers, I went, I can do this. I can make the segue work. Oh, what have we got? We have the Crimson Fuckers.
Yes.
Played by our own Divvot.
Hello.
So Divvot, care to explain what this team is named after for those that have never watched Team 4-Star?
Well. Yes, this is based off of Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. Basically.
Bitches love cannons!
Bitches love cannons. I have my 2 vampires, Alucard, you know, a real fucking vampire. And then Ceres Victoria, the police girl. And then everyone else is basically just cannon fodder.
No, sorry, police girl with the big titties.
With the big titties.
And now we earn our not safe for work tag. Well done, guys.
Taken down. Bye, guys.
Banned.
We're not allowed to reference any form of show anymore.
So now we can shit talk Divvot whilst he's here.
That's fine. I'm just gonna be quiet.
My lifelong dream.
Lifelong?
Yes,
wait. Lifelong. Lifelong. Really?
Something I've just noticed about this team, that in all the time that it's taken us to get ready for this league, I have not noticed. 7 fan factor.
7 fan factor.
Jeez,
I am getting that money, honey.
That's a commitment and a half.
So you know how brilliant coaching happens a lot. That's a lot of rerolls.
Yeah, well, that and cheerleaders are both affected by fan factor.
And you already have 5. Yeah. But you need them, as we've seen in the Brexit Bowl tournament.
Yeah, 5 rerolls for 2 vampires, but with no skills, obviously, across the rest of the team. But what I'm interested in, I'm sure Aramis will confirm this, and he's probably going to talk about it. But there are generally 2 ways that people suggest you build vampires. You either go for lots of subs, and you just have lots of delicious thralls to eat when you fail your bloodlusts, or you go for lots of team rerolls, and you try and avoid, you use them for your bloodlusts for most of the time. And by having few vampires...
Yeah, as we also discovered in an earlier season, Bloodlust in Blood Bowl 2 is not as bad as Bloodlust in the tabletop game.
No way near, no. You only get sent off for the drive.
The reserve box, you do not get sent off if you go into the crowd.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. But when you've only got 2 vampires, that's quite a punishment. I play vampires with 6, and I'm just like, yeah, just go off, it's fine. I play them wrong.
Going for agility 4, I'll take 6 of you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well,
If
you
they
can
get
all
sent
use
off-
hypnosis. Great.
Yeah. Speaking of strong pieces, with the War Dancer, there you go with this other strong piece. But this one has serious drawbacks.
Yeah. No block for a start. No dodge for a start.
Yeah.
What's going to be good about the vampire team? Just to let's say some positives about them, shall we?
Please.
As it is quite a bashy. It's going to be quite. You're going to see a lot of caging this season, and that's where hypnotic gaze is awesome, because you can just hypnotize the corner of the cage, and Bob's your uncle, you're in with the other vampire. So that's a big benefit, actually.
And it's a 2 die, and if a ball carrier is strength 3, it's a 2 die if you can mark the other cage. It's really easy to break into a cage. You kind of need to do a double cage, really, against vampires.
I think with vampires, you just got to just accept the fact that your thralls are throwaway, really, and use them unconventionally. Use them to foul, use them to sort of crowd a ball carrier. They're armor 7. They're going to be kicked off either by the enemy team or your own vampires. So really just use them to their full effect as probably one of the best meat shields, just because they're just freaking
so cheap.
They're so cheap. Yeah, you can just throw them into the meat grinder and not really care. And they can carry the ball. They can carry the ball if you need them to. They're agility 3. It's not the worst.
They're basically humans.
And all of a sudden, you've got a carrier.
Yeah, they're basically
humans with one less armor, right?
Yeah, and armor 7. Armor 7's not. It's not good, but it's not the absolute worst. It can be okay-ish if you're lucky. So as long as you've got your vampires to protect them, that sounds weird saying that, using the vampires to protect the thralls, but they are a good team. They're a very fun team, and they do provide their own challenge. And I think people go into up against vampires underestimating them, and that's their biggest strength. If you underestimate a vampire team, you're going to lose, because they will come out of the woodwork and they will beat you.
Don't tell everyone that.
That's generic advice.
Those of us that played, it was Aurora's vampires back in
I lost 3-0 to those. With pro elves.
You had elves as well, so I did not feel sorry for you.
No, you didn't know.
The interesting thing with vampires is how you level the vampires up, because that is where all your dead. They are kind of like the whole war dancer werewolf sort of mentality. Except they're your only valuable pieces forever. Like, you get thralls, but they never last long enough to really do much or really level up significantly. So it's all about how many vampires you have and how do you build them.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, Div, I assume you will be getting more vampires at some point if you can.
Plan.
That's the plan, yeah.
That's the plan.
They're not cheap, though.
Yeah, my plan is that I've got 5 rerolls at the start of the season, so I don't need to buy any more going forward.
You really don't.
I'll probably save up for another vampire before getting an apothecary, because I don't really see my vampires getting injured. Knock on wood, cross fingers, do all that stuff. And I don't care about keeping my thralls alive, because as you said, they're cheap.
Yeah.
I'm interested in, maybe this will be spoiling a tactic. Something I've never really think about with vampires is, are you going to just save up for vampires, and if you have thralls die or get permanently injured, you're just going to live with journeymen as cannon fodder? Or because the thing is, you've got no leeway for thralls dying or getting permanently injured at this stage. Like, you'll be men down. Are you just going to kind of live with that? Is that your plan?
You'll have to watch and see.
That's what that is. Okay, right.
40k, all it takes is one good game roll, and that's sorted.
Yeah.
But anyway,
speaking of watching, there's a TV show themed team that coming up next.
Yeah, so let us move on to one of our new players, I believe.
Wait, that's the wrong one. Never mind.
Doing it.
Am I wrong? Not a new player? I'm terrible.
No, this is King Fairlex.
Yeah.
King from last season.
He has a different name in Blood Bowl.
Different Blood Bowl name.
Not good enough, King.
Formerly known as King Rectum.
Now King Fairlex, much more PG.
Let's not get into the silly names by the Germans, shall we?
Anyway, in the green corner,
I'm sorry.
in with 4 blitzers,
3 Black Orcs.
3 Black Orcs, 1 thrower, a goblin of all things, and 3 Line Orcs. We have the Rectrek, the Orc team. I hope they're Orcs anyway, if they've got Orcs in them.
I'm not sure what he's doing with the goblin, but I'm sure he's there.
That was terrible.
I know, it was.
So bad.
I know. Just move on from it.
Okay.
Please move on. Please move on.
King played Kemri last season. And
Oh,
Kemri
man,
are
what-
one of those teams that like look good initially, and then when you really actually get down to it, are probably bar the stunty teams, Underworld, and probably Vampires are probably the hardest team to play.
Yeah, do not go shit talking Mike Emery. Okay.
No, it's
We can't shit talk the
they've
Camry.
got Bash,
Yes,
but they've got
Elfboy, you
Agility
can't.
2 across the board, so they are very difficult to play. And he came or joint fourth in the cup last season. I knocked him out, and I went on to win it.
But he did come a very good second during the league, though.
Yeah,
very
he
good
won the
second.
league. And
Wasn't far off coming top. It was only towards the end where it just dropped off a little bit, and Figgy just sort of
Bought a
kept
death
the
roller. Bought a death roller.
yeah. Well,
Bought a death
I was
roller.
going to say Figgy kept the pace, and unfortunately King just couldn't quite keep up at the end.
King had
Anyway,
an
back to the
unfortunate.
Orcs. Back to the Orcs.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
5 minutes.
We're talking
5 minutes per team. That's what the schedule says.
We're talking about the coach. Talking about the coach. I mean, my first question, and I'm sorry, King, if you're watching. Why the fuck haven't you got that fourth Black Orc?
Yeah,
I know why.
Why?
He plays Orcs on tabletop and stuff. That is his team. Is Orcs.
Okay.
And
played
he
nothing else.
And he plays the style that I like to play, which you might have seen with my Bretonians, which is all options are open. And he likes to play a passing game with Orcs. When they're slow movement, but they're agility 3 with pass and sure hands, it's perfectly fine. The blitzers are perfectly good at moving around with the ball. And it's unfortunate that he's in a particularly bashy league, but you don't necessarily need all of that strength 4 to start off with.
Yeah.
So he will probably be playing a running passing game.
Or at
with
least a
extra
running
strength.
handoff game, if not
No.
passing.
And the other thing as well is to consider with Orcs is, yeah, you're missing a strength 4, but they're only 80k Black Orcs. They're unbelievably cheap
they're
for how
very
good
cheap,
they are.
yeah.
It's not going to be long for him to get a fourth. I imagine that will be his next purchase. I'd be shocked if it wasn't.
Yeah, especially when you got 3
Apothecary
rerolls.
is-
You don't need any more rerolls for the league.
No. Apothecary is
Yeah,
another shout.
Apothecary, but
The one thing I would say is normally you tend to get the troll with the goblin. If you do go the goblin route, you normally have a troll with it.
Well, here's the thing: goblins are perfectly fine at being receivers. In fact, goblins are great receivers.
Right. Okay. I've got a story. So my
5
friend.
minutes. 5
sorry.
minutes, Aramis. 5 minutes.
My friend Ben plays
We're a minute over.
the orcs that I painted, and he plays this team, the goblin receiver team, and it works. That's what annoys me is it works. That's it. That's all there is.
I'm annoyed someone makes passing with Orcs work. But
Yeah. Yeah, so basically,
Someone played unoptimally. How dare they?
you basically get an agility up with one of the blitzes, and you have a very, very sturdy elf.
Yeah, pretty much.
what do you think we are, on a podcast where we talk and give our opinions and anecdotes?
Oh my God, how dare we.
Not this kind of show.
Please.
How dare we? Moving swiftly on then, if you want to keep going.
I like the names
Yeah, that is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
to keep my
Yeah.
my thing going.
I think-
Yes, the names are very nice.
I think this is going to be a team to watch because it's his.
God, yeah.
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 He's a good
Orcs
player.
themselves are just good.
Well, he did very well last season, considering first with us, and yeah, definitely one on my watch list.
And I want to see this passing Orc team. I believe in it so hard. As an avid passing player with 83, I believe so
And
hard.
there's someone not in this division.
As someone not in division, yes, I can't see him to pass it everywhere.
Yeah, the first game is against dwarves for this Orc team, so it could be a tough first game, but, you know.
He can outmove them though. Here's the thing. That sounds like his plan to me.
Well, he
Also,
had
these two probably played before, I guess.
Wait,
Both.
what did you say, Bob?
They've both played each
Oh, yeah.
other before, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the other player is a friend
Because
of
I
his.
think they know each other.
I think so
Well,
too.
if not, we'll call that your mistake.
Yes. Blame me.
You're the one who knows these people.
It's actually interesting that if he's going to play a running passing game, he can actually outmove a lot of the teams in this league because the league is so bashy.
Because he has movement 6 blitzes.
Yeah, what's your leagues like when orcs are some of the most maneuverable?
Chaos Dwarves, Undead, all the really fast teams.
Necro.
But now there's something else with a bit more maneuverability coming up.
Yes.
More segues.
More maneuverability.
I appreciate the amount of segue time you're giving me here to change everything I need to change and get to the next team in time.
Is that a more warning next time?
No, it's good. It's fine.
So the next one is drumroll.
It is the Shake Rattle Block from Attila or CZ, depending on how it wants to be called.
CZ is going to be the coach name for this season.
Yeah, CZ will be the coach name. So it weighs in at 1,000 team value with 2 mummies, 2 whites, 2 ghouls, and 2 skeletons, including 3 zombies. Ooh, that's a nice undead build there.
That is a lovely undead build.
So, as somebody who does not play these, has not played undead yet, skeletons and zombies, for me there's no difference really, because they are your expendables. Why would you take one over the other?
Ooh, this is a
Skeletons
tough...
move faster and will stay on the field more because of thick skull. Zombies have higher armor, so unlikely to get armor broken, but have slower movement.
So, the zombies and the skeletons kind of fulfill roles. The zombies are your typical markers. They kind of sit there, take a punch. They're probably not going to get sent pushed off the field because they're armor 8. They're pretty reliable. They're probably going to come back on as well thanks to regen. Obviously, you can get more of them with the necromancer as well if you kill an opponent. They are for tying up pieces, specifically tying up strong pieces as well, like other mummies, flesh golems, that kind of thing. Things that can't dodge out. They're great. They're fantastic. But yeah, they're fantastic at tying up Saurus. If you're against lizardmen, just throw them at the Saurus. It's great. The skeletons are, because of their movement 5, they kind of tend to form part of the cage. Obviously, undead are a bashy team. They do tend to cage up. Skeletons, along with the mummies, are the guys that follow along. That's their norm. They're not as good at being markers, obviously, because they're armor 7, so they're more likely to go down. Thick skull keeps them on the field, but obviously, if they're stunned, they're no good really. So that's where they excel at being part of the cage and sort of screening a little bit more so than the zombies.
There's a lot of debate, particularly online, as you'd imagine, of what's better.
Personal preference. It depends how you play your undead team.
I tend to like, personally, putting zombies on the line with the mummies and having the skeletons support the whites because they can keep up.
Exactly.
And they just more maneuverable and more helpful. But they are weaker, generally, in my head.
Yeah, it just depends on your preference. Do you want the maneuverability, but more? I think I heard somewhere the difference between getting armor broken at armor 7 and armor broken at armor 8 was like 50% more likely at armor 7.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it's like, do you want that higher probability that you will get armor broken?
The good thing,
or the chance that you can move a couple of squares more.
The thing I like about the zombies is they're very good at if you keep them with a mummy, it means that the mummy's never really going to be isolated. You can get, if you need to move the mummy, you can probably use a zombie to make the block so the mummy can move, and so on and so forth. So that's why I prefer to have. I tend to. This is a different build than I would have gone. I normally go. You can actually get 3 ghouls in a TV 1000 team. So I tend to go with 3 zombies and a single skeleton, and that skeleton is normally my kind of guy who sits in the middle running around kind of dude. So
yeah, because obviously he's bought cheerleader, fan factor, and coach.
Yeah, he's got extra guys. Yeah, he's got 5 quote unquote line guys rather than 4 and the extra ghoul.
Yeah. But other than that, standard mighty blow and regen on the mummies.
Yeah.
A strength 5, you'll take that any day.
I think it's a good build. I played CZ, and I think he played Norse actually, but he seemed to know what he's doing, and I think this is a fairly safe build. This isn't really. He hasn't really got to worry about three ghouls being sent off the pitch because they've been injured or knocked out. He has got a lot of there's a lot of reliability in this. It's going to be a little bit more slow and ponderous, and I think you're going to see a lot of 2-1 grinds, or maybe even 1-0 grinds from this team. There's not a lot of flair here, but I think it's going to be effective and reliable.
One thing that
the
always...
moment those ghouls get levels, it could easily
Oh
be
god, yeah.
2-1, 2-3. Oh,
Definitely.
What scares me most about this build, and it's fairly easy to compensate for this, because ghouls are so cheap, but is that across the team you have 4 agility 3 pieces. So you have 4 ball handlers, and if they get injured, and 2 of them are armor 7, so if they get injured, your ball handling goes way down. And he has nicely
2 of them have got regen. The whites have got regen.
True. But even in a game, like if they get sent off the field, you suddenly haven't got very much ball handling skill. He has got 3 rerolls, which I think is really important. I think rerolls are very important in like Necro and Undead teams because you have no ball handling skills. And dropping the ball in your own half can really cripple you as a sort of slower, bashier team.
Good player as well to go with that. In our Brexit Bowl game, I think we managed to go through most of our halves, or both of our halves, without using many of our rerolls. Which just goes to show that was with a Necro team, so not Undead, but
they suffer with the same problems. Yeah, they very much suffer with the same problems of they have no ball handling to start off with.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what ZZ can do with this team, and also quite worried because I'm also in this league.
A big thing for me is which way are you going to develop your whites and ghouls? Do you develop your ghouls as your ball carriers and your whites as like bashers, even though you've got mummies, or do you develop your whites as your ball carriers and keep your ghouls for stripping and being sackers and stuff like that?
I think with the
it's
ghouls,
a very
you
interesting. You could easily go one for each. You can,
especially when you get that level, you have one for each, and then have one that just replaces whichever one gets injured the most.
Yeah, so it's interesting to see how he's going to build his whites in particular.
Yes.
So, and he's got 1 cheerleader, 1 fan factor, and 1 coach assistant. So he's going to have an advantage over a lot of people, bar Divvot.
Yeah, but no. Speaking of me being worried about facing this team, it's almost as if my team's next, isn't it? And I'm just trying to do a clever segue that's not going to work because you've all noticed it and I pointed it out because I will break the immersion, damn it.
And it is your team that is next.
Yeah. Woo.
It's almost as if I knew that.
It's not like we have a list here.
Right, now we can all slag off Jbazza while he's here.
Yay!
It's my lifelong dream.
Chat is right. Tails does have the best ball handling skills.
Oh yeah.
Wait, what?
We were talking about in the game, you know.
I don't know if Reaper was talking about in the game.
Look, what happens between Tails and Reaper and Telford is what stays in Telford. Okay?
What happens at Coxcon stays at Coxcon.
This stream is not sponsored by Coxcon.
But anyway, moving on. So we've had the green corner, now we've got the blue corner. It's the Sons of Lustria weighing in at team value 980 with a Croxagore, 6 Saurus and 4 Skinks.
Yep.
You guessed it, it's your resident Lizardman team.
Bog standard lizard lime, that's what I played last season. I just went full bash.
I'm interested to see how Jbazza...
You can't really do anything else unless you're going full
Skinks.
Skink Squad 7!
Best build. I'm really interested to see how you build this team this year because you've been waiting for 3 seasons to play lizards and we finally let you do it. As this is like
guard. Wasn't me. Don't know what you're talking about. Don't know what you're talking about. Have no idea what you are saying. These are lies.
So what was this?
Lies.
Oh, okay then. I'll play Khemri, Chaos, and Ogres until then.
Look, did you have more fun playing different teams?
Don't ever mention his ogres to him.
It was just did you just admit to having the ogre team?
No, I thought
What
about
ogre
it,
team?
but I think the game sort of deleted every team I made apart from the test team, so you know. There's no record anywhere. I defy you to find proof.
Except on www.grumble.co.uk. That's grumble.co.uk. You'll find it
there, but you know.
So, Aramis, what's your statistical analysis on this build?
Fucking lizards, man.
Aramis knows what I can do with Khemri.
It's not an unknown fact that I fucking despise lizard men as a team.
I'm sorry, Pro Elf. What was that?
Yeah, Look, okay, let's...
My readings, I'm getting an abnormal amount of salt in this room.
What have lizards ever done to you?
The sad thing is I actually have quite a good record against lizards on CL, so I don't really bitching about anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I was going to say, every time you've played my lizards, I think you've injured the crocs, so...
I have
you're not in my league.
I've killed 4 or 5 croxicles in my lifetime, with elves, no less, so...
I mean, to be fair, I've once had a level 1 skink kill a level 3 war dancer before. Not like turn 1 as well. That was...
So... In terms of lizards, all sort aside, they're really good. They do struggle at the beginning, obviously lack of skills, but they are really good. You know, how is it? 6 lots of strengths 4 it's just fantastic. You can just block off most of the pitch, and because they're movement 6 as well, they're not like Black Orcs. They're not just going to sit there bogged down. You know, you often don't have enough linemen free to get all the Saurus, and even if you do, they're going to be 2-die block next turn. So you know they're just a really effective team. And you know what? As much as I don't like them, they're fun. They're fun to play. They're a challenge. They're a challenge to play against as well. You do have to think really, really hard about what you're doing.
Positioning, really.
Positioning is key.
Style.
You do. I think you know playing against Lizardmen. If you play against a good Lizardman coach, you will come out of that game for the better, because they do teach. They're a good team to play against because they teach you a lot. You know, the skinks are movement 8. You've got to keep an eye on them at all times. The fact that they're strength 2 is basically irrelevant because you're not going to catch up with them. You're very rarely going to actually block a skink, and when you do that dodge, this is talking about low TV, sort of the very beginning. You know, they're going to stay up a lot of the time. You know, and they're just really, really
unless
good.
You're dwarves or chaos dwarves, you're not knocking them down.
Do not mention dwarves to me when it comes to lizard men.
The biggest negative, obviously, is the skinks tend to hog SPP. And the one problem with the Saurus is, of course, that they don't have any skills. But once they start getting block, Mighty Blow, they're a real
it's almost
threat.
The question is, do you go for Mighty Blow first or block first on the Saurus? Because
I like to go
will
block.
get you the levels up faster, but block will not knock you down as much. But if you get knocked down, then you still potentially get SPP.
I prefer block because it just makes them more reliable, and it defends them as well. You know, the people gang up on a particular Saurus if they're, you know, they might find one close to the edge and they'll just try and push them off. They'll do a couple of cheeky 1-dies, and that's the thing as well. You know, you can 1-die a Saurus if you're a typical human team, orc team, various elf teams, etc. If you've got block, you can 1-die a Saurus pretty reliably, you know, and because they haven't got Mighty Blow, if you take that skull, you're probably going to be okay if you're armor 8 or 9. So, you know, they're not as OP as I tend to over-exaggerate, but they are very effective. And if you are a relatively inexperienced Blood Bowl player, they can really take you by surprise. They're a team which kind of slowly builds up in the first couple of turns and then just absolutely rockets out the gate, and there's nothing you can do about it unless you have to be very patient playing against Lizardmen.
I think with Lizardmen in particular, they're one of these teams. I actually think they're really good for starting, well, not brand new coaches, but for relatively young coaches. And the reason is they only can really do 2 things, but they do them really well.
They do,
They can bash really well, and they play a running game really well. But you can't really do much more than that. These are one of the few teams I've shown with Bretonians, and I believe it with any Agility 3 team, you can play a passing game. And do all kinds of handoff shenanigans and stuff, but with Lizardmen you just can't. You cannot pass reliably because you've got stunty and you've only got like a few Agility 3 pieces, so you have to run with it and you have
Challenge
to block.
accepted.
Yes, do it. But that's why it's good for teaching people, because it's like you focus down on 2 types of play and then you try and master them and do them really well.
Yeah, punch and move.
Yeah. And as Aramis said, you know, with the Saurus being so resilient and strong, kind of throw them in. I'd agree with you. I tend to take block on 2 Saurus first to be your line Saurus, and then take Mighty Blow to level the others up quicker.
There's of course one more skill that you can take on a Saurus first, and that's Break Tackle. And it's filthy. And I will tell you about my time with Break Tackle, Divvot.
What?
Look, Break Tackle and Croxagores are the best. I'm just
Break
saying.
tackle Croxagores into throwers on the line, balls going off the line into Skink's hands and scoring. Yeah.
Yeah,
beautiful
but do you
thing.
know what's great about block? Well, a team that has a bit of block and a bit of stab and a witch.
Stab.
Burn the witch. It's Feig Ferrum's Whiskey Kings.
I was about to say, speaking of dead lizards, because here's somebody who murdered a bunch of them.
How dare you?
Div's just like
that would have been
having
a better
traumatic
segment. Why
flashback.
did you tell me you had that one?
Because I can't. Don't cry, dude.
I left the microphone for dramatic effect.
I am so excited for this next team. You have no idea. Just because I also know that how much it's going to trigger Aramis. It makes me so excited. You have
Not only him, to be fair.
Oh, I'm so excited.
So here we have them.
Yes. Yes, here we have the next team, which are also the Lizards' first opponents. So you've got your matchup right here. It is the Whiskey Kings weighing in at 1,000 team value with 1 Witch Elf, 2 Blitzers, an Assassin of all things, a Runner, and what's that? 5 linemen, 6 linemen,
Yeah,
6 linemen.
What is this build?
2.
Aramis is the other Dark Elf player.
I am, yeah.
Frigate, and I love it.
Okay, let's start this from another perspective.
Yeah.
So, obviously you take the 2 blitzers because that's your only block in the team. You can
Take the
have
Witch Elf because you have to.
you have 4, right? You have access to 4 with Dark Elf.
4 blitzers, yeah.
4 blitzers, yeah.
So, and then, like, the normal discourse I hear, at least online, is you don't take an assassin because he's shit.
So,
Hang on, Shadowing.
And this is where I
okay.
strongly disagree.
right, okay, so
Shadowing is a good skill.
I like to call the Dark Elf Assassin is the Marmite of Blood Bowl pieces. You either absolutely love him or you despise everything that he stands for.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty.
The Witch Elf,
love
everyone
the Witch
hates
Elf.
unless you're playing them.
Yeah, oh
Or
god,
playing
yeah.
as them.
Yeah.
Purely because Frenzy, Dodge, Jump Up
Oh,
with
it's
Movement
beautiful,
7
isn't it? It's
and
beautiful.
Agility 4. It's like,
Jump
what?
up is my favourite skill in the game. Bar none.
This way, at the
Jump Up
moment,
and
there
Frenzy
two
are great.
Pieces there to foul, and that's... Well, the Assassin if you
So-
have low armor, and the Witch Elf because you kill that Witch Elf.
Yeah. So the reason I don't like the Assassin is he's basic. He kind of has to be a marking piece, and with 8v7, no, it's just, I don't know. It's 90k that I'd rather have elsewhere. I don't know. It's just not.
like-
It's just not a piece I like.
Here's
9/10 of a 3rd blitzer.
Exactly. Well, exactly. You can move some money around for that 3rd blitzer.
I mean,
Who's better? Who's better?
Here's the thing: is when you look at them on paper, the assassin. The reason why so many people hate the assassin is not because the assassin is a bad piece. It's because of every other option on the Dark Elf team is better.
Yeah.
For most people would say, get a blitzer, get a runner, get a witch elf. That's so much better use of your money. If you took an assassin on a goblin team, you'd freaking love it. I mean,
God, yeah.
if you took it on a human team, you'd love it. It'd be a great piece. But
Yeah, just having
compared to
one
the other
goblin
people-
with stab.
it's just
Like,
compared
what?
to the other Dark Elf pieces, it seems
That's the
very
problem.
weak.
That's the
And that's
problem,
why
yeah.
everybody hates it, because people never find a place for it, because Dark Elves are so expensive. If you've got 2 Witch Elf, 4 Blitzers, 2 Runners, you have to be well into like several seasons before you can even afford an assassin.
And then
just
at that
because of how
point-
expensive.
At that point, your TV is incredibly bloated as well, and people are getting bribes and all sorts of shit against you.
And you'll be going against claw teams. Claw
Yeah. I mean, Claw doesn't really.
No, but the pile on
these
Mighty
guys-
Blow is going.
Yeah. it
However,
does.
despite what everybody hates, I love assassins.
Yeah, but
just
that's
because
the
they're
sort of
different.
gimmicky crap you like.
It's true. But do you know
They
what
don't
assassins
have any throwing skills.
Do you know what assassins are great at? Things like war dancers, where you can
That's true.
you just roll an armor against them. You don't have to block them. You can leap into a cage with them, stab a dude. It doesn't matter how much stronger they are than you, and if they've got low armor, it's
Minotaurs,
really
for
decent.
example, if you have a scary Minotaur, you put that assassin next to him and you stab him because that is armor 8.
Yep.
That's 1/3 of the time, or 1/4 of the time, he's going down.
I think the thing I have for assassins is they don't. And this is again, it's subjective. As I said, they're Marmite. You that don't. Because I like
cut out slightly.
Because I like to play a loose, kind of a loose running team with my Dark Elves. They don't really have any place in that system. If you know what I mean. You do. I think with assassins, they do absolutely excel in their own right. And again, putting them on war dance is fantastic. Putting them up against star players, they're really good. It's just when you come up against the more bashier teams, they start to lose their edge. And shadowing it's a take it or leave it kind of skill. I don't know. It's
for me, they're great ball hunters.
They are. They absolutely are.
But they're expensive.
With shadowing, you put them against a player that has low movement, and they just can't move them because they're not going to be able to get away with from you.
Yeah, I just feel like, and Shane said it perfectly, there's 3 other positionals on a Dark Elf team who I would take over them every day of the week. And you know what, and I actually, this is kind of sad to say, and maybe not, this I would rather take a lineman over them because they're armor 8, and they're you can use a typical Dark Elf lineman for pretty much everything in a Dark Elf team. They're so versatile. It's just like, I can't find anywhere for the assassin to be in a Dark Elf team. If they're in a human team, take them every day. I would take them every day in a human team. But I don't know, just not a Dark Elf team.
If they were armor 8, I would take them.
Oh god, yeah, that would change everything. If
that does change a lot. Well. I think with assassins, they become really good. And this might be why he's tried to take one in a semi-perpetual thing. They can become really good when you have a couple of level ups. If he's got dodge and possibly block for survivability, but if he's got like dodge and leap, suddenly he's so much harder to get down, and he's so much better at chasing ball carriers and stuff. But you've got to get that.
If gets injured, that assassin is second target because of stab. Not having to make that block roll, if people just want him out of the way, just they don't have to worry about it.
The thing is, as well, is that obviously bear in mind, Dark Elves very rarely go above 2 rerolls to start with. They're a later purchase. You've now only got 2 block compared to 3 or 4. Those rerolls are starting to look a little bit thin now.
I'm hoping we get proven wrong and stab doesn't work. I want this to work so hard.
After game 1,
I want it to work game 1. Stab a couple of skinks. It's so much better than blocking them. Stab them.
If he gets that assassin close to the skinks, then something's gone horribly wrong.
The thing is I love watching Figgy play. Figgy was one of the most entertaining coaches, and he's playing one of my favorite teams, Dark Elves, and I want him to do well, which is why I'm kind of being critical of it, I guess, a little bit more than because he's one of my favorite coaches to watch, and if he proves me wrong, I will absolutely. If he proves me wrong, hands down, fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. I want him to do well, and I just think he probably. And I think this is the thing, because he plays a little bit differently to how you would normally play his teams. We saw a fucking very awesome dwarf team last season.
Dodging dwarves.
Elf dwarves.
He can take.
Don't mention the dwarves.
Agility 2 can dodge very well.
He is going to take that assassin and turn it into a star player. I know he will.
I hope so.
I hope so.
Just like the Whiskey Twins.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of disgusting things like whiskey.
You're on form with these segues.
That's
Segue king over here.
By the way, I do not hate whiskey. That was just a good opportunity.
Like you're trying to avoid some hate.
Yes. I'm not even entirely sure I want to say this name on stream.
Just do it. You have to say it in such a way it sounds natural.
I will put that hyphen in.
Cool.
It's not hyphenated on in the name, but I will put that hyphen in myself. Yes, Masters of the Pooh-niverse, coached by our very own Alx, or Alxoloth, as he's known on Blood Bowl, weighing in at a whopping 970 team value with, one big beast of Nurgle. Or Nurgle. No, 3 Nurgle warriors.
Yeah.
2 Pestigors, though, to make up for it, and 4 Rotters, 5 Rotters, 5 Rotters.
Yes, 5.
Yes, I can count.
Is it 5? Yes, 5.
Yeah. I love Nurgle teams. I really, really do. I think thematically my favourite team all day, every day, and the Beast of Nurgle is the best big guy, just straight up.
The Beast of Nurgle was so good in Blood Bowl 1 because it was so cute and adorable.
It was adorable.
Puppet. Oh.
So okay, this is my reasoning why the Beast of Nurgle is my favourite big guy, and also the best one, because he doesn't have to do anything. He can sit there in a group of people and just be like, none of y'all are moving, y'all having hugs, tough shit. And
is he Southern American now?
He is, yeah. He's apparently Southern American.
Okay, cool.
You know what Beast of Nurgle is amazing at? In the CCL, I'm playing a Rotters only team of Nurgle with a Beast of Nurgle, right? Yeah. I played against Wood Elves. I put a Beast of Nurgle against like a slightly caging War Dancer and a couple of Wood Elves, and it was the last turn and he tried to score and he failed 3 sets of tentacle rolls because tentacles are just that good, and he's such a good disruption piece. That's so all he has to do. And he's great against elves, and unfortunately there are only 2 elves in this season. He might disrupt King's passing orcs as well, but best big guy in my opinion.
Absolutely. He's so much fun. He's so much fun. Amazing. The only criticism I have is, again, it's a bit of a weird build with only taking 3 warriors. You can get away with having just the 1 Pesticle to start with. You really can. They're pretty cheap to get, and they tend to level up pretty quickly as well. So it's not that big a deal. 2 rerolls is gonna. This is where things could get a little bit dicey. 2 rerolls is pretty low for a Nurgle team. There are no reroll skills in there at all to start with. Warriors rolling both downs and skulls, Rotters doing silly things, Pesticle, no sure hand, so picking up the ball could be a bit of a nightmare. Any handoffs you want to make, it's going to be a case of you've got to conserve those rerolls and look to, use them efficiently. And it takes a little bit of concentration.
Want to build into your claw pommer, really, especially in a league like this.
Yeah, you do. But the thing is, you need to have a extra arm, sure hands Pestigore. I feel.
See, for me anyway, you talk about a claw pommer as a Pestigore. You can easily build the Nurgle warriors that way. So you're not like a Chaos Murder team. You're not in an absence of that.
No,
I think what's deceiving is
you do it on the Pestigores because of their maneuverability and the fact that you're not going to want that guy stood anywhere near the opposing team until you're blitzing them.
But
run back.
Unlike Chaos, though, is that whilst I love the Rotters, I think the Rotters are one of the best linemen. Personally, I freaking love them.
Disturbing presence and
it's not disturbing presence; it's decay. They're actually sort of bad, really. But their agility 3, which I think is deceiving because they can do a lot.
I can't believe they're agility 3.
They're agility 3, and that's why everybody underestimates a roster only team. And you're like, no, they're not zombies. They can handle the ball just as well as Pestigores. And I think Pestigores make amazing blitzers because they have horns. So having one of them as your main ball carrier and the other one as like a stripper or a sacker, I think is the way I would go with it. I think it's why he's taken 2 Pestigores.
You can take 4 of them, I think. You
take up to 4 of them.
You can take up to 4, yeah.
Unlike Chaos teams, Chaos have the ability to make a lot of Clawpom Beastmen because you have loads of Beastmen, whereas Nurgle only have 4, so you've got to make a bit more specific use out of them. That extra movement is what you're utilising.
The thing you've got to, and we do have 2 Nurgle players, is you can't get into the mindset of Nurgle being a bash team because they're really not actually. They're a control team. They're about locking players down and basically being like, you know what, you're not allowed to do what you want to do. The tough shit.
It basically mean you can't pass unless you manage to push them literally into 1/3.
They are fantastic at stopping a team playing their game. You as a Nurgle coach should basically be like, right, my game plan is to stop your game plan, and that's where they excel.
Being armor 8 is just like
they are the roadblock team.
They are fantastic.
If you want to stop somebody doing something, this is the team for you.
I know Nurgle aren't considered to be obviously one of the better teams, but I think they're just I love them. I don't know. There's something about them. I love.
Nurgles aren't considered to be one of the best teams. Who won the CCL today?
Oh, that's fair enough. No,
Here's why Nurgle aren't considered one to be one of the better teams is because a lot of people talk about tournaments and stuff, and they're not strong enough as like
No, they're not strong enough to just win a 1200 TV tournament.
They're like Chaos, in my opinion. They're one of the best teams to develop because they are just having access to mutations along with a lot of strength access. Is very strong. Murder Chaos teams are famous. So.
This is a team where I think they might struggle in their first season, but we're really going to see them shine next season and the season after.
They will murder people next season.
They will. Yeah. Cool.
Oh yes, yeah. Especially when they get a couple of those rotters, or not rotters, a couple more Pestigores, 1 or 2 with Claw. That's just
It's just all the mutations are so strong, and when you can have them across your team for free, like without needing doubles, it's so many options.
Speaking of murdering things, next up, a team that nobody would like to see, that nobody would want in this league after last season.
Yeah, so for those who don't know...
No one likes going up against dwarves. No one likes it.
We had a dwarf-dominated season last season, basically, with 2 teams and one of them winning the league and coming second
2
in the
dwarf
cup.
teams and a chaos dwarf team.
You mean,
yes.
Yeah,
So
if you say winning the league, this is just like underselling
destroying the league.
He only lost 2 games.
2 games of 11 games, was it?
Yeah,
it would have been 11, wouldn't it? Yeah.
But he lost the most important game of all, the grand final.
Oh well, then in the cup he lost 2 more games, I guess.
If you include the cup ties, Figs Liqueurs had a 78% win rate. 78%. Bear in mind that the Tombs and Runes behind them had 69. So
nice.
And let's talk about this dwarf team.
So in the dwarf corner, weighing 1,000 team value, we have 2
That
Troll
transition
Slayers,
didn't work.
2 Blitzers, a Runner, and the rest Longbeards, as you'd expect.
Let's try it
You're
again.
not going to build this any differently. You're not even going to
Well,
get that
let's try it
Death
again.
Roller until the end.
There we go.
The only thing that springs to mind is the 6 Longbeards. 6 Longbeards and 1 runner rather than 2 runners and 5 beards. That's the only difference that I can see there.
It's a very interesting choice that he's gone for 1 factor rather than 2 runners.
Yeah.
Just because, the lack of agility 3, the lack of ball handling. If that runner... Yeah, but the only armor 8...
They do have... The runner does have short hands.
Yeah, but he's only armor 8, and I say only. Like, armor 8 thick skull, nothing to laugh at. But, like, who are you going to try and injure more if you hit this opponent? That is your first and, like, main target.
Yeah. The Troll Slayers.
And so, you know, if you get rid of that runner, there's 2 players on this team that can reliably handle the ball, and even then it's a push, and they've got movement 5. Like, there is such a crux on that runner being protected and not getting cage broken, basically. Whereas when you've got 2, at least you've got the backup, I suppose. It's 1 extra player that can handle the ball. Not because the Longbeards can't, but...
And because they're movement 6, they're a good last-ditch defender as well.
Yeah.
For a dwarf, anyway. But
so there's
Longbeards is... Sorry, Mark.
There's one interesting thing that I'm just seeing. Why is the guy called Troll Slayer Longbeard and not the Troll Slayer?
I suspect this team may not have been named, or maybe on auto names, not.
No,
named.
they are named because they're all alliterations. They're all BB.
Oh yes, you are correct.
Yeah, so they are named. And while we're here, since we're now through the 3 of them, I don't know what is it with their names or teams and focus on butt stuff.
What?
King Rectum, the Masters of the Poo-niverse, and Shit Pitcher.
It's just
Don't
that group
ask
of
me.
friends are just obsessed with toilet humor, clearly.
Normally you grow out of that.
Way. I was going to make a very, very different.
No, stop! No, cease and desist! No.
I said I was going to, not that I did.
cease and desist. But who's going to send the cease and desist?
I will.
Restraint is not part of our decorum.
Neither was decency or anything else.
Yes. I think the thing with these dwarves that's going to be interesting is dwarves are particularly. I find them very hard to determine what they're good at in terms of. Do you want them in a weak runny league because then you can beat the crap out of everybody else, but then they can also run around you, which is kind of weakness. Whereas in this, which is a bashy league, yes, you've got a lot of block, but you're actually going to get outstrengthed by quite a lot of teams in this league, which I don't know if it's a good or bad thing.
I think it's called guard.
Yeah, but you've got to get that first. You've got to get the kills on people. A lot of teams with strength, armor 9 and armor 8.
I mean, it's not like
That's called universal block thick skull.
Yeah,
No,
it's
true.
not like the last 2 dwarf teams had any problems getting lots of guard. Let's be honest.
No, but they were in
Sometimes maybe too much guard.
This is a very bashy league.
So last season was pretty bashy.
You know what
Fairly.
annoys me most about dwarves?
Go on.
How the blitz's skills are the other way around.
Yeah.
It hurts my
The
eyes.
OCD is yes. Okay. I believe Shitpitch is a fairly experienced player. He's friends with Alex and King Phalex, who we've already seen their teams in this league, so they're regular opponents. So I'm interested to see how good of a player he is, and in sort of in comparisons like how Figgy played last season. There's a lot of new coaches. There's a lot of unknowns. this
Yeah,
season.
and
is a lot
again,
of
he's
unknown,
going
yeah.
up against King Rectum first, or King Phalex first.
Yeah, which is
So,
the orc.
you know,
Speaking
gonna
of
be-
unknown coaches,
well, yeah. Speaking of unknown,
I stole that
coaches.
that transition. I'm sorry.
No, very good. I didn't have one for those, so you're golden.
I'm
Yeah,
go
I
go.
think they like
No,
to
it's
eat pork, don't they? So it's that brings us to our other dwarf,
I
Chaos.
can't believe you went with pork and not of ginger when you're talking about dwarves and troll slayers and beards. Oh, I'm so disappointed in you, Jbazza.
Look, do I look like I'm a professional segwayer? That's Marv's job. That's why we have him on this podcast, you know.
Wow.
Over.
So, yes, the final person in Division 1, a new coach, Sampitu.
Yes. The pork and ginger reloaded, weighing in at team value of 980. 2 bull centaurs, 5 chaos, 5 chaos blockers, and 4 hobgoblins, which is a standard.
Count them
enough.
on your fingers.
Or just use the numbers.
That works.
Just use the numbers. If they all started at 1 and 2 for each one, that would work. But it doesn't. 4, 5. It's
No,
Chaos
but
Dwarves.
it's 3 to 7, so it's 5.
What is
6 a.m. My brain is not working that well.
what is with these last sort of like 4 or 5 teams? Weird weird builds, like missing one, trading off
Chaos.
one typical thing for another typical thing.
Well, what would be your decision here? Would you... Because he hasn't got a sub, so if you got rid of a hobgoblin, he's still 10k short of a chaos
Yeah,
dwarf.
I mean normally you go a typical. I think a typical chaos build only has
6
one bull
and
centaur.
2
No, it's only got 1 bull centaur, so you have all of the blockers.
Yeah.
And you get the bull centaur afterwards. That's the typical build.
I'm
I
a
don't
big
know.
fan of this build.
Yeah, I prefer it. I have to say.
Yeah, I prefer this build.
It's more fun.
One thing I love is players with maneuverability, but not. I don't like elves. I find I don't enjoy playing them. But so people like werewolves and bull centaurs are like my favorite pieces because they're like movement where you don't expect movement. Like, you don't expect a running game from Chaos Dwarves, yet you've got bull centaurs that can pretty damn reliably move 9 paces.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Spaces.
Sprint and sure feet. Yes, I'll take that. Especially with 6 skill,
Exactly.
strength 4, and armor
you've got-
9.
You know, break, tackle, block. You've got amazing blitzers right there.
I mean, they might as well be movement 7. They might as well be movement 7, to be honest, because of that sprint. Because that sprint and short feet.
You mean
Well, I
movement
mean,
9?
basically guaranteed.
Oh, I see what you mean.
9. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
you
yeah.
mean 7 with 2 go for it, but yeah.
7 with 1 going for it.
Yeah.
They can move 9 total.
They can, yeah.
That's the key thing. pretty reliably.
You're probably looking at them moving 7 or 8 squares reliably if you need them to.
Yeah, I think
unless you're rolling Aramis rolls, in which case they'll move 7 squares and fall over.
Yeah, the obviously no Minotaur. I think the general consensus Chaos Dwarf Minotaur is one of the worst big guys. I
don't think it can take mutations, can it?
Yeah, exactly. There's no mutations.
It's on doubles, yeah.
Not for bull centaurs.
No, not the bull centaurs.
Not Minotaur.
The Minotaur needs double for mutations on the Chaos Dwarf. In contrast to the normal Minotaur on
which
the Chaos
just has
team.
them as standard.
Yeah.
But it means that if you do roll doubles on the Chaos Dwarf blockers, you give those guys claw as fast as physically possible.
Yes. All the claw.
And
it's not going to be that common, but...
Filth.
Well, you say that. When after game 3, when there are suddenly 3 Chaos Dwarf blockers with claw, I'll remind you.
I mean, it's statistically it's a 1 in 6 chance of rolling a double.
It's unlikely.
So if all of them level up, you'll get one of them a claw in theory.
Yeah.
So it's still scary because you can get lucky. You can just suddenly have claw everywhere.
The claw pom Chaos Dwarf blocker is very scary potential.
Scary. The issue with claw pom on dwarf blockers, and people will take it and I don't blame them for it, is that it puts you on the floor, and with movement 4 that can really hinder yourself, so you've got to use it strategically. You can't just throw it around.
Congratulations.
And then cage him up immediately afterwards.
Yeah, it's like, congratulations, you can now move 1 square after you've
gotten
it up again.
But if you've murdered somebody for it, that's worth it. So
it's worth.
I was just
or if you get 2 doubles, get claw and then jump up, and you get pile on mighty blow.
I would definitely get jump up on dwarf blockers if I could. Oh yes.
Jump up on Chaos Warriors as well. Dirty. Just
just to hark back to the bull centaurs very quickly. I just did the maths on going for it with sprint and sure feet. To move the full 9 squares with them, there's an 87% chance of that happening, and if you've got a team reroll, it's a 92% chance. Now, whilst that is still a risk, and you can argue an unnecessary risk, when you're doing it to blitz a ball carrier or to score, that is pretty amazing to be able to move 9 squares.
Team reroll on the going for it.
Yeah, so if you do 3 go for it's in a row, and because you've got sure feet, which automatically rerolls one of them, you have 87% chance of that working. If you have a team reroll, which means if you use sure feet on the first one, you can then reroll the second go for it, for instance.
Yes. Sorry, I thought you.
Yeah, you couldn't reroll the sure feet roll, but if you rolled a 1, you use up your sure feet. But then if you fail and then succeed that go for it, if you then fail a later go for it in the same turn, you can use a team reroll, which makes it a 92% chance, which is pretty good on somebody with strength 4. That's an amazing blitzer. You know.
So, I'm misremembering stuff. It's fine.
And when you can give them the ball on like a 50% chance, they are quite. They're better than werewolves at moving the ball, and they retain it better because they're strength 4 and armor 9. So they're one of my favourite players.
Then with 3 rerolls, that just makes the pickups a lot easier as well.
Yeah. Anyone think that he's just going to immediately go for the 6th chaos blocker, dwarf blocker?
Probably.
It's got to be the first thing you go.
Unless he goes to the Minotaur.
Seems the most sensible choice.
Unless you get very unlucky, and that forces you to go for the apothecary first.
That's an option.
But I can't see Chaos Dwarves being that unlucky.
You say that last season. Tell that to Adako.
I can't see them being that unlucky that they need to force themselves to get the apothecary, because if in that case the damage is done, you may as well just rebuy the player and then hope you save enough money. It depends if the players are injured, not killed, and then not injured enough that you want to sell them yourself.
Yeah,
it gets into that weird grey area of, do I keep this guy for another few games and just use him as cannon fodder?
I mean, with like Chaos Dwarf blockers, for instance, if you get movement broken, it's not the end of the world. If you get agility broken, it's really not a problem.
Oh, you movement broke my movement 4 blocker. Well, that's a shame.
I know, he's not going to move much anyway.
One end of the field to the other anymore.
He's the guy you put at the centre of the line of scrimmage at that point. He's just like, yep, you're never moving from this spot. Just get up and get away.
You're claw pom guy. You don't care.
Although,
Even then, I'd still keep it.
At what movement you have to roll to get up? Is it 3 or 2?
You use 3 movement to stand up.
Yep.
Yeah, but
More or less.
And hence why tree men have to do the roll to get up, because they're only moved 2.
Yeah.
So long as you're movement 3, you can still get up for free.
That's why some people take movement plus on trees. I see.
You definitely take a movement plus on trees.
Especially when the other option's armor. You don't take armor on trees.
if a halfling player gets movement up on, they pray to every god that ever existed to try and get one of those. They're just it's a very rare thing.
I was going to say, Tails, what do you mean? My armor 11 fucking tree is bad? I think
I'm not sure.
Stands there.
I actually don't think stats can go above 10.
You can't go above 10, no.
You can't. I'm taking the piss.
Next team.
Yeah, that was...
next team. That's the end of Division 1, I think you'll find. So
It is, yeah.
we will go over our predictions later in the show. At the end, that will be our closing statements. So make sure you remember all of these wonderful, wonderful teams.
Retain it in your brain.
If you forget, go over to grumble.co.uk and you can see a list of all the teams there. Go to the standings page and you can see all of them in the nice line.
Yes, you just cannot see all of the actual...
And you can see all of the logos that we made as well.
Which are all very pretty.
They're all on stream because of the transitions that I made.
https://grumble.co.uk.
Where are you getting hyphens from? There's no hyphens.
Not hyphens, forward slash grumble hyphen div hyphen 1 hyphen s1.
I'm going to post it in the chat for anyone who's watching. There you go. There's the link to Division 1.
Yep. So moving on, Division 2. And we have one of our new players again to start us off.
This division is full of new players.
It is, yeah.
I mean, yes, it is. So it's not a surprise that I'm saying we're starting off with one of our new players. But, you know, thanks for interrupting me.
Sorry.
Fuck it, we're just starting this. We have, weighing in at 1,000 team value, the Vermintiders of Blaze Shaken, Skaven.
Yes!
Oh, look at these horrible, horrible gutter runners. 4 of them to start. 2 storm vermin, a thrower, and 4 line rats.
I think that's the number
Bog
one
standard build, yeah.
Build that's on BB Tactics.
3 rerolls, and just to make it worse, an apothecary. I say make it worse. I'm not playing these guys. I don't care.
I can't really think of a reason not to choose it up.
But the Rat Ogre, though, is so cool.
No, shut up,
I
Shane.
love the rat ogre.
They're back in your box.
No, let me out.
The rat ogre is amazing. Aramis is wrong.
Foaming at the mouth.
God damn, I love Skaven. But I hate these at the same time.
These names are quite good.
Yeah, they're pretty damn cool, yeah.
Skaven is a team.
Yeah, I like the names.
Rat starters.
Myself. Love to play against them. And I feel like we've had a severe lack of them.
And now we have 2.
We have 2, yeah.
Great.
Now
Is that why you put both of them into Division 2?
I was going to say
because you like playing against them?
Unfortunately not.
I'm upset that both Skaven teams are in Division 2 because it means I don't get to beat the shit out of them. However, I'm glad that both Skaven teams are in Division 2 because I don't have to deal with fucking gutter runners.
Yeah.
To be fair, there is nothing more cathartic than injuring a gutter runner. Nothing more cathartic.
Yeah, but we can make do with ghouls. Divvot. We can make do.
You can make do with ghouls.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, they're one of those pieces that they're kind of like war dancers or werewolves, and they have a massive target on their back. But there's 4 of them, so
They're
what
only
can you do?
80k. They're only 80k.
And
And they dodge out of everything.
They are, as far as I'm concerned, they are up there with war dancers in terms of their effect. It's so good.
They're only 80k, and they can just get block as standard because fuck you.
For me, the thing with gutter runners that makes them so terrifying is rolling a 10 is not that impossible when you have 4 of them when they get as much SPP as these guys do.
Yeah.
Get a movement up, give them sprint. You've got 1 turn touchdown without having to do any shenanigans. You literally just point and run.
And they're agility 4 as well.
Yeah, especially when you consider that you don't even have to account for picking up the ball because, oh, sorry, what's that? Movement 9? Yeah, just pick up, run.
Yep.
Hand off and run.
Skaven teams live for that blitz kickoff. They absolutely live for it. You pump the back line with all 4 gutter runners and be like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
I'm going to hit first.
Yeah, exactly. You got 4 guys. You can only take down one of my guys, and agility you're going to do. So yeah. They're a difficult team, don't get me wrong. They are a difficult team to coach. They have nuances. Their lack of armor, aside from the storm vermin, means that you'll probably be playing with journeymen. Obviously, they're not particularly stronky Kong. They're not particularly reliable either. The only gut runners are fit. Gut runners are good and storm vermin are good, but the linemen tend to fall off the pitch.
It's like elves though. If you lose your 4 linemen, you don't care.
Yeah, pretty much. But they are they're one of the better teams, but they can be difficult to coach. The gut runners, again, they've, as Shane said, targets on the backs. Anybody with tackle, you're going down. You're armor 7. Just rank 2.
And especially that makes having the apothecary worth it, because
definitely
you need the apothecary for those 7 players. You need that for over half your team.
Yeah, you do.
Any one of those 7 players get injured, and you are nearly screwed in that game.
You have to learn to live with casualties, much like elves do. Those linemen are like, don't fall in love with them, don't get attached to them. They're just walking corpses. They'll soon be the necro team.
Yeah, Shadow, what's his name? That's the best one. That's the sort of attachment you need.
Don't get attached to your gutter runners either. They will probably die. Because people will target.
About gutter runners is if you do get that movement up, and then you give them sprint and sure feet. I just worked out the maths on it. If you'd like to know.
Here you go.
There is a 50% chance they can just score from the kickoff. If you're a Skaven team and you're receiving the kick, to catch it, followed off by 3 dodges to get through like a line, and with 3 go for it with sure feet is a 50% chance. That's a 50% chance to equalize for free, essentially, because
I think that's the same. I think that's better odds than a throw teammate. I think much better odds.
Much better odds than a throw teammate. Yeah,
it's a lot better than throw teammate.
And the fact that you can have that on
what you do is you make sure
players.
you're 150 TV behind. You buy a wizard and you fireball those motherfuckers.
Oh yes, you do.
Because as I found out in one of the CCL games I played against Skaven, fireballs can just straight up murder like level 5 gutter runners.
I suspect
it's hilarious.
Depending on how well the Skaven do early on, I suspect tackle might make an appearance in this league quite a lot.
Yeah.
With elves and Skaven.
Oh, let's just say tackle on my witch elf is going to be it'd be so good.
Yes.
So you mean that witch elf that won't see game 2?
Speaking of elves, I believe we have our next coach.
I'm so excited.
Not Aramis just yet. Our wonderful Marv, who is playing high elves.
Yeah,
I did not give
those are my elves.
time to prepare this transition, which is why I'm keeping on talking.
No, I'm good. I'm good to go. I am on top of this, dude.
We have the Calador's Comets.
Oh, well, the transition lagged. Hang on. Gotta do it like 3 times.
Damn it, Divvot.
Hang on. There we go. It's not my fault, it's Streamlabs. There you go. Carry on.
Yes, we have our own Marvelous Marvs, Calador's Comets. High elves weighing into 1,000 team value.
Yeah, they're not just high elves, they are my elves.
Hey,
And that's the end of What a Roll, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
And we crashed. Flatline, we're out.
Anyway, continuing. Weighing in at 1 thrower, 2 blitzers, and a shit ton of dead linemen. Yes. 3 rerolls as well. 3 rolls almost the standard now across this league. Well, from the 2 teams we've seen in this division. But no apothecary, so, you know.
Yeah, how nice of you! How nice of you, Marv, to buy the players for the Necromantic and Nurgle teams. This is very kind of you.
Yes, they appreciate your sacrifices.
If you don't get hit, you can't die.
Yes, Shane.
Famous last words. That failed go for it is going to kill you.
Oh boy.
Aramis,
already happened. So,
as a resident elf expert, your takes on such a team?
Unfortunately, High Elves are my least favourite team, just because...
You're wrong, but okay.
Are they technically the worst elf team?
No,
very arguably. Very arguably.
Yeah, I mean, it's between... You could argue it's between them and the Pro Elves. Obviously, I'm biased to the Pro Elves because I just love them so much. High Elves are...
Now, we've already agreed that Pro Elves are the worst, so, you know, yeah.
High elves for me are, I don't know, they just haven't got the flair that I like of the pro elf team or the dark elf team. But that being said, they're armor rate throughout, which means they're the most resilient of the elf teams.
No, they're not.
The catchers have armor 7.
Well, yeah, and they're strength 2, aren't they, as well, actually?
No,
they're strength 3.
Why you
They're
don't
strength
use
3.
lineup, I'm guessing.
I thought they were strength 2.
They're strength 3 catchers, which is why they're great. They are armor 7, but they're strength 3, so they're stronger than other catchers.
But they are
Wood elves are armor 2. Oh, sorry.
But they're SPP hogs. That's why I don't have them in the starting lineup.
I think this is a standard lineup. I think for the high elves. So
you can get catches, but then you're sacrificing rerolls, which are expensive afterwards. So that's why I went with this.
They're only 100k. They're not that expensive.
They do
compared to most other teams.
The good thing about high elves is they have the best thrower in the game.
Yes, which is why I love
safe throw, which is freaking fantastic, meaning that intercept is even less likely to happen.
Re-roll in the intercept if you manage to get the 1 in 6.
They do suffer from a typical, with the exception of the dark elf weakness, which is only having 2 blitzers. But they're really good. They're movement 7, agility 4 blocks. They're pretty good. Having 2 of those is pretty good. And the same with every other elf team. A regular lineman can do wonderful things. So.
Up until the point where they die in the second game.
Up until the point where they die, yeah. But they're armor 8, so they're more resilient than pro elf or wood elf teams. So
Marv has seen what's happened to the elf teams in season. He knows exactly what to expect.
Yes, that's why I have so much. So many linemen. Now there's once I get some catches in, some linemen are going to get fired.
The catchers are really good. They're not as good as the pro elf catchers. They don't have nerves of steel, but they do have a much more reliable thrower putting it into them. So
see, for those of you watching who don't know who Marv is or haven't been watching the matches, he's known as Marvelous Marv for making amazing plays.
Yes,
and I think the high elf team is great for that.
Yeah,
because me and him have had several talks about elf teams and what team we might play this season and stuff. And one of the reasons why I like high elf so much compared to pro elves is pro elf catchers are great. They are fantastic catchers, probably the best catchers, but they're no good if you can't get the ball to them. Whereas having a good thrower on a team where it's agility 4 across the board, anybody becomes a good catcher if you've got a good thrower. Whereas with pro elves, you look against pro elves, say, and you go, right, there's 3 catches in the area, they're the 3 targets. Whereas with this team, everybody's a target, everybody's a scoring threat. If you've got a good thrower, you give him accurate, you give him accurate, and if you get a double, give him strong arm, you can pass 13 squares on a 2+ with I think it's 2% chance of interception. It's unbelievably reliable throwing. So you could just keep him in your own touchdown zone, and you could pass it nearly the entire length of the pitch, with a 95% chance of success. It's insane if you can level him up.
Yeah, so the aim is in general that the other famous elf team called All Hail Mary has to disband after this season because copyright infringement and such.
We've got a new All Hail Mary in town. I can't wait to see what you do with these.
I have very fun plans. Let's hope they come into fruition.
I can't wait. I can't wait to make a highlight reel of just your across pitch throws. I really can't.
But speaking of fun plans, do you know what's a fun plan for me? It's ripping into Aramis. And do you know why? Because he's gone with yet another elf team. He's our resident elf.
We played 2 elf teams in 4 seasons.
Stuff in USA. Stuff City.
The Super Freakonomics Aramis' zone.
I love the theme of this team, Aramis. I love it.
I don't get a theme song.
That was the How I Met Your Mother theme song. It wasn't very in tune, but
it doesn't matter.
I was at least hoping you'd go with the Super Freak, but I'm gonna gloss over that one.
Let's go to the mall today.
That's what copyright infringement is.
It was less than 3 seconds. It's fine.
TV with a witch elf, 3 blitzers, and the rest dead linemen. Only 2 rerolls. We have Aramis and Dark Elves.
So you get Dark Elves get 2, that's it.
Look at this boring standard play. There's a severe lack of assassins in this team.
This isn't the standard build.
Disappointment.
The standard build is actually four blitzers and a runner.
Yeah.
Where's the runner?
We're not doing that.
So
We're doing chill off. We have to go with Robin Sparkle.
Yes, of course.
So yeah.
Target number 1 for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm a killer. So quickly.
I mean, she won't be alive after tomorrow.
Wow.
Big talk coming here.
Although, well, we'll get to that later.
So I guess my reasoning for choosing Dark Elves is because 1, I like elves, and 2, but I want an elf team that isn't just going to be ripped to shreds.
So you decided against
you
pro
mean
elves?
physically or metaphorically? Because I think you'll find that metaphorically, that's happening right now.
That is happening right now, yeah. I love pro elves. Pro elves are my favorite team because they're everything that an elf is. It's complete bullshit. Pro elves are complete bullshit from the off. Dark elves I think they're a little bit more boring, but they're good. They're really good. They're reliable. They are armor 8. They can do some cool stuff. They're not a throwing team, unfortunately, which is a little bit.
Dark elves are the best elves.
Strongly disagree.
They're
a kind of a. You kind of play Dark elves like a rugby team. You kind of keep passing it laterally and eventually end up in the end zone.
When you say disagree,
backwards, yet somehow always end up further forwards than you were to begin with.
Pretty much, yeah. They are kind of the rugby team of Blood Bowl, but they're fun.
Especially when you do get them, runners have dump off.
Yeah, exactly. Dump
I
off
was
is
about
great.
to say, if you say strongly disagree with that they are not a passing team. Are you sure you want to reject the great teachings of Jeremiah Cool?
Well, my attitude is that, anyone can turn an agility 3 team into a passing team. You can definitely, when you've got agility 4 across the board, pass it. It's the riskiest thing to do with them, but it's still pretty reliable. Like when you're like, oh no, I've only got 3 people in range of the end zone, better make this 80% chance throw. Oh no, well, how risky? It's like,
I'm sorry, Aramis isn't known for rolling double ones at all.
No, not at all.
That's his own fault. It doesn't make the team bad. That's just his incompetence. It's fine.
Hey, wait a minute. That's okay.
Yes, Aramis, you were supposed to type a 2 into that dice roll result, not a 1.
Yeah, God, have
Come again for Big Fudge?
Hey. Big Fudge is on the team. He's
Yes.
gonna be.
Yes, he is.
He's gonna be best. I feel like Marshall
Teddy Webb's West Side.
Marshall Erickson is in this how many times? 1, 2, 3. He's in it 3 times. So, because he's the Achilles as well.
Naked man.
Naked man.
I'm just ashamed I'm not in this division, so I can't just quote How I Met Mother every week.
I mean, you just have to cast all his matches.
That's true. That's true.
So,
Yeah, I think we said all we have to say on there. Moving on.
No offense, just like
Wait for this. I'm sorry.
We could be quite quick, I guess, because we were.
Yeah, the good thing
If you
is
wanna
we
catch
spent a bit longer on the first division than I was hoping for, but we did sort of cover most points for basically all the team in this division.
Yeah.
Apart
So now,
from 2, 3 teams. Yeah, so we can move on through a couple of these teams a bit quicker than.
Apologies to the coaches if we're skimming through.
Yeah, basically it's because we've got nothing more to say that's unique to the team. It's not an indictment on your builds or choices or names.
And with so many new coaches, it's quite hard to do a coach prediction because, especially in this league, we've got 6
The majority,
new coaches. So it's like you can't even call it based on coach skill because we don't know more than half of the league how good they are or how experienced they are or whether these are their main teams or not. So
some of the newer coaches in this team have been improving massively season on season, as this coach proves. What the fuck, Reaper? With the infected N team, another Nurgle team.
Yeah.
Reaper has been improving season on season, playing vastly different teams as well.
He started off so difficult, bless him.
Ogres.
Ogres is your first ever team in the game.
he went from ogres to Skaven to orcs, right?
Skaven and orcs, Skaven were good though.
They just got punished. They got
Unfortunately,
though, they just struggled.
Unfortunately for him, playing through 2 seasons did not inform him of the correct direction to go to score a touchdown.
And if you're watching,
Let's skip over that. Everyone's allowed an honest mistake.
I know, it's just funny.
and And if you're still watching Reaper, yes, you will never live that one down.
Nope. not while I'm alive, anyway.
No, I've agreed internally. It's been a year now. I will forget that the All Hail Mary happened.
It's been over a year. It's November.
Yes, it's been over a year.
Yeah, mate, look, they're gonna look. You don't know what's coming. Once we do 3 seasons and it wipes, they're coming back.
No.
Yeah, but I get to relegate you to Division 3 in that.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
If you come back and you work your way up back to Division 1, I will create your own special division where you have to spend 2 leagues.
Yeah.
He'll lose.
I just want to say very quickly.
But he has so much experience playing with himself.
Hey!
Anyway, the Infected End team.
I personally think that Axel, this is the team that Axel will just excel with. Considering how he played as Orcs last season, this is a team I think that I'm worried. I'm genuinely quite worried about this team being in the division with this lot. So, I'm fearful.
Yeah. The main difference between this and the Division 1 Nurgle team is 1 less Pestigor, 1 more Nurgle Warrior.
It's the more typical build.
Yeah, Pestigor's cheap, then it won't take him long to get another one. And you don't have to worry about an apothecary because you have regen, so you can't.
But I have him last.
And with Rotters as well, you can replace them without even thinking about it nearly. As long as
if you kill somebody, you get one. So you could hope that you'll at least kill somebody at some point and replace your own players.
More than 1 person, then you get
more. Yeah.
More. Yeah. As long as they're not higher than Strength 4, don't have Decay, Regen, or Stunty.
The big difference with Nurgle compared to Orcs, which I think Nurgle are the harder team to play.
They are, yeah.
And the big reason is that the big thing with Orcs is their blitzers are so good.
Yeah.
The 80k
is a lot more to think about for Nurgle.
Yeah, and I was just looking at it and I was like, oh yeah, they have so much hard time with maneuverability, but they've actually got the same movement as all the Orc players, like the positional. What makes them tricky is that they start off with less movement 6 because the warriors are so expensive in comparison to Black Orcs.
Yeah.
You only have 1 Pestigor, whereas with Orcs you could afford 4 Blitzers and 4 Black Orcs, so you have like the full roster to begin with. Whereas Nurgle, you have to build up to get that roster. They're a slow burn team, but they develop really well. And with mutations, you can very quickly reduce their shortcomings.
Yeah, especially once you get a 2 heads or
extra arms. Yeah, you suddenly
or something like that.
You can very much specialize a lot, almost better than Orcs can.
And then with the Beast and the Chaos Warrior or Nurgle Warriors having what is it? Disturbing Presence foul? What is that?
It's just appearance.
That means that every 1 in 6 blocks you throw against them, you're just not going to happen. Full stop.
That's foul appearance.
Foul appearance is the
disturbing presence is the passing thing.
Yeah,
and that's actually going to be huge in this league compared to. Yeah. I think Alex got away with it that he's only got 3, but he's in a league with a lot less passing. I think this league has got like 2 Skaven, multiple elves, stuff like that. There's a lot more chance of passing in this league, and therefore disturbing presence is.
The only thing I'm going to say to this is the disturbing presence doesn't affect you if neither of your players are standing in it.
Yeah, it only covers the entire pitch. There's no worry about it, it's fine. The area for it is actually huge.
It is.
It's so easy to forget as well.
But long bombs are still longer.
But you're then assuming that his entire team is stood in a single line of squares.
What makes Disturbing Presence so terrifying for passing teams is its stacks. That is terrifying because when
what's that? You've got Agility 4 elves? Well, that's still a 6+ pass for you, matey.
Pretty much. It's a 3 square radius, so it's not hard, especially if you give the Nurgle Warriors break tackle. It's not hard to get them close to people, especially if it's like last-ditch passes across the pitch, that kind of thing. You don't even have to man-mark the person. You just have to get close enough so that you have to get within 3 squares of them, and then they're going to struggle to make the catch. So they're great at stopping those last-ditch efforts. And with 4 of them, it makes it all the more easier.
Yeah, especially because they're going to have to move backwards to try and get out of that to then make the throw, which is just a longer and more difficult throw anyway.
Exactly.
And then is the catch is still affected, I think? by Disturbing Presence? So you then have to
Yeah,
move
yeah,
out of the radius to catch it, and then all of a sudden are you even able to make that throw?
It's pass, intercept, or catch. You subtract 1 for every Disturbing Presence. So if
basically
there's
you're looking at a double 6.
if you've got an elf catcher in the presence of like 2 or 3 of them, even from an accurate pass, it's like 4 or 5 plus. If you've got it within 4, if there are 4 Disturbing Presences, it is a 6 plus.
Yeah, because that's with gets over Nerves of Steel as well, I think.
Yes, because it's not a tackle zone. It doesn't ignore that. So, pro elves would cry at Disturbing Presence. Sure, Aramis would know.
Speaking of crying,
speaking of a disturbing presence.
Oh yeah.
Hi.
Do we have to?
I was going with crying and surfing on the tears of your opponents, but that's also works.
Hey, I approve.
Yeah, well, you say that. We will move on because apparently we're contractually obliged to mention the team of our very own Seven-Tailed Wolf.
Do we have
It's Current Soul Service, the Necromantic TV1000. What have we got? 2 Flesh Golems, 2 Werewolves. Where's the second white chain? Where is it?
He's having a dirt nap at the moment. So when Aramis was like, "Oh, this is the standard build for Necro," and I'm like, "Oh, I've screwed it up even more." For those of you who saw me last season, you know I like to play boisterously, adventurously. I like to try different things. Passing Bretonians won the league last season, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. The thing for me is talking about Necro is, as Aramis said, you can either go the Ghoul route or the Flesh Golem route. I love the Flesh Golems, and I think one of the reasons why I take them so early is because they are so difficult to level up that I think I'd rather have them trying to get SPP early than late.
Yeah, compared to the undead mummies, they don't start with Mighty Blow.
No. And while Strength 4 is perfectly fine and they're perfectly resilient with Thick Skull and Armor 9, relying on casualties, it's just a very unreliable way with specific players to just level them up.
But they're no big guys and you can get block on them, right?
You can get block on them, yes.
Yeah, you can just get the standard. They have access to general and strength.
Yes.
And stand firm as well is nothing to shake your head at, especially with Thick Skull, regen, strength 4, and armor 9. Is like they're not moving off that line.
Yeah, stand firm is quite underrated.
I'm a very strong believer, and anyone who played me last season will know how powerful controlling your opponent's decisions are.
Yeah,
everybody loves sidestep, but Fend and Stand Firm do similar things. They put the movement power in your hands. So you can, when people are like, I've got this great play, I'm going to do this, I just need to knock this guy out of the way. And you're like, I'm just going to stand firm. And then their whole plan is ruined. And Fend does a similar thing, Sidestep does a similar thing, and it's so powerful. And I love
Sidestep. Yeah, because very few people tend to take Juggernaut as one of their first abilities.
It's a very rare ability.
At all.
Yeah.
So Juggernaut's really good on Wedge Elves.
And also on ogres, but we haven't got any ogres.
But the reason I've only gone for 1 white is team rerolls are very expensive for Necro teams, and as we talked about earlier, you have no ball handling skills, and so my attitude is I'd rather have a reroll now and then save up for a white than have less of a reroll and try and save up for a reroll, because it is literally so much more expensive. It's
140k.
It's 50k more expensive for the reroll than it is for the white, and I'm going to struggle with the issue of I only have 3 agility 3 players, but I feel confident enough that I can do enough with them to see me through getting to a second white, and at the very least I can get a ghoul at 70k.
Yeah, I was going to say, worst you just buy that ghoul.
I would hope to be able to get a ghoul within 3 games if I was desperate for more agility.
You get that ghoul if you end up losing a werewolf and a white.
Yeah, I mean...
That's the point where you go, maybe a ghoul's worth it, actually.
I think if you're going to watch the league, watching how me and Adicole play is going to be interesting, because I suspect we're going to play massively different. I have a very particular... Gimmick's the right word.
Adicole will do his damnedest to kill everyone, and you'll do your damnedest to try and passively get around everyone and then score.
I mean, I feel like I've got a very specific sort of plan, gimmick, if you want to call it that, like idea that I want to try out with this team. And I've never really been able to do it in ladder because I've never got a team far enough for it to work. It involves like developing players in certain ways. And so I'm kind of hoping that in this league that will happen.
By the way, join our ladder.
Yes, and we've got a ladder that you should join. But yeah, so I think keep an eye out on my team and Alico's team and see how differently we play it. He will play what I imagine is a very standard Necro sort of bash run play. I think I might surprise people with throwing whites.
Well, when you get a high on your team by the end of it, we will wonder what's happened.
It's either going to go great or horribly wrong. If like a werewolf dies, I'm screwed. Like my entire life is ruined. But yeah.
Kill that werewolf.
For the
Speaking of ruined.
Speaking of what?
Ruined.
Speaking of ruined, because that's what my relationship with the next team is.
I mean, you were the only one that was going to get that. But yes, going on to the next team, we have the Strong and Skimpy Norse, coached by Ancient. So, what do we have here? 970 team value, 2 rerolls, with 1 Yeti, 2 Ulfwerener, 1 Berserker, okay, and the rest linesmen.
Okay, I have two questions.
Go on.
The first question is, why would you play Norse? They're shit.
Poor Joe.
The second question, Aramis, why is your father on this team?
Wait, what? Oh my god, Mr. Dancer, what? What's he doing? Dad! What are you doing?
So explaining my grievances with Norse, I started playing Blood Bowl with Norse.
I mean, to be fair,
everybody died.
You played were mainly against me, and what team was I playing?
Lizards and Camry. Yeah, still, I played like 3 more Norse teams after that. You know what the results were?
Again, what teams were they mainly playing?
No, they on the ladder and stuff. You know what the results were? Everybody fucking died. And the last straw was I played a practice game against JD, which is coming up in 2 teams, and his Skaven team. I deleted the team after that because it ended with me having 4 players left on the pitch and I hadn't injured 1 fucking rat. So that's why Norse is just dead for me on Blood Bowl 2.
And also, your Yetis tend to do jack shit.
Yeah.
And your bears when you play your Kislev.
Oh no, the bear was great. The Yeti was shit though. And the Ulfwereners are the most useless pieces you can ever have on a team because all they roll is double skulls. Or double both down.
Aramis, what's your take on this team build? Because I don't know what the standard Norse build is. I think mine is very
standard Norse build. I can tell is no Yeti,
yeah,
2 wolves, and a runner.
Yeah, runner, yeah.
Yeah, we've not got the runner.
And here we've got the extra strength of the Yeti, an extra player though. A Berserker, no runner.
The Berserkers do have jump up frenzy, which is nice.
Berserkers are my favourite pieces in the game. It's just a shame that they're on a team that they can't be utilised as well.
Yeah,
like at the start. They can't be utilised at the start very well because everything's so expensive that you can't afford all the runners and everything else that you need if you want the Berserkers.
Yeah. I also feel like the Yeti's claws are going to go to waste slightly in this league.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I have the same problem with my werewolves. The
problem I've got with the Yetis, they haven't really got anything, unlike some of the other guys, like the bear, the Kroxagor, and the Beast of Nurgle, is he hasn't really got anything to keep you there, and there's no Mighty Blow either, so you might as well dodge out. Even if Agility 3, you're just like, we might as well dodge out. It's safer to dodge out than get hit by Frenzy and Claws, so... Yeah, I don't like the Yeti.
Make the blitz at least if he's not got any tackle zones around him.
Yeah, I don't like the Yeti that much. I don't know. He just doesn't really sit well with me as a big guy. But he has his own. I don't know. He has his own cool things.
Movement 5 armor rate. Disturbing presence helps.
Yeah, it does.
There's 30-odd chance that he just won't get hit.
Yeah, wild animal. I prefer to have Bonehead personally.
I think everyone would prefer to have Bonehead after all the negative traits.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that the Yeti does provide, to provide a counterpoint, is Norse are deceptively not bashy. You look at Norse and you go, wow, bashy team. And then when you really look at it, you go, ow, armor 7, I'm going to die very quickly. Even with block, that's not that reliable, because a 2 die, it's very easy to knock somebody down or push them. And, you know, on the defensive side, block it's not useless. It's a very, very good skill, but it's very easy to knock somebody down with block. And with armor 7, they don't tend to stay around that long compared to the Amazons, who are an absolute nightmare because you just can't get rid of them. Even though they've got armor 7.
I feel like Norse are just the worst Amazons. Really, I don't know. I just don't.
I agree, because with Amazons, when you level them up, you give them all blodge. If you just
sorry, Joe, we're shitting on your team, and you've only just joined the league.
But the other thing is that when they do level up, they can only get general unless they roll a double. So they're not going to get dodge.
Yeah, so their linemen are worse than Amazon linemen in that respect.
They're not going to get dodge. They're not going to be able to pass.
I mean, they're perfectly fine
at sure hands.
Yeah, I mean, they're perfectly fine at passing, okay-ish. But the reason I was defending the Yeti was that it provides that not stability, but that roadblock that you don't want to use the other players for. You don't actually want to leave that many of your players in contact with people unless you know that they're not going to really get hit back. Whereas the Yeti can just stand in the way, and you don't have to use him, because frenzy with a loner is a scary skill. But you could just put him there and be like, right, you're just going to get in the way, and you're just going to stay on the line. You just keep tying up people.
The one benefit of this team in general is, by God, you can force a team to play in a formation that you want them to, because you are not playing on the wings against Norse. Jesus, you do not get to do that.
Frenzy everywhere.
Because in theory, if let's say one Oathensword pushes you and the other blitz you, they can move you 4 spaces. 4.
I mean, it's very easy to... I say very easy. It's relatively easy to surf somebody 5 squares away from the touchdown, because you do an initial block or blitz with somebody, you frenzy into one player, and then you frenzy off the pitch. And the thing is, with block... particularly on the Berserkers, which is why I like them so much. 1-die blocks aren't that scary. So even making 1-die blocks all over the place, they're a team that you can sort of be a bit more risky with in that sense. And, you know, doing 1-die block frenzies isn't as terrifying when you've got block as it is with like a werewolf or somebody else, where you can suffer for it.
It is possibly unfortunate then that his first game is against the Nurgle. But it's going to be interesting how he uses that frenzy, like we've said before. That could be make or break. Strength 4 frenzy is terrifying.
It's going to be down to how well that armor 7 holds out, I think, for a lot of the games, because you do have to play a little bit of grabbers and Norse.
Yeah, it's interesting that because in this league particularly, you might get away with it, because we've got 2 Skaven teams, 2 Elf teams. You've got that's nearly half the teams that don't really want to be bashing too much. They might take this opportunity to bash the Norse, perhaps, but if this team was in Division 1, I'd be very worried for it. I mean, Norse are a great team. A lot of people play them well, but they suffer from casualties.
Equally, Marv, that was your first team?
Yes. As I said, I started playing with Norse.
The problem with Norse is that they suffer from casualties like elves do, but they can't pull off the BS that elves can with no players. You can't pass it across the pitch when you've only got 4 players left with Norse quite as well as you can with elves.
Speaking of pulling off bullshit.
Yes.
There we go.
I set them up, you knock them down.
Let's go to the...
Do we have to cover this team?
Yes, we do, because it's arguably the best race in the game.
I mean, well, best named race in the game.
Most marvelous race.
What happened to my space frogs?
What happened to the slat? What happened to the slat?
A meteor fell on them and they all died. Rip.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. Marv has made me like Kislev. He has made this team for me.
It's alright, well, moving on, yes, we do have the Kislev of Crisp. I'm not.
His coach name is Drow. It's not what it is in game, but the name he'll be known by is Drow.
It's apparently a druid thing, I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so Drow, We have the Kislev of Drow, which have been named the Washington Trumps because we can't get away from any reference anymore.
Let's all do one collective sigh for this name.
Names. What the? Okay.
We're gonna have a team next season called like Ugandan Knuckles or something.
I'm not gonna lie. The other team names he wanted to submit were far worse.
Oh god, they were far worse.
I banned them, just so you know.
Wow.
This was the best of a bad bunch.
The 5 of us saw them. The rest of you, yes, this was the best we could get.
Fuck's sake,
That's
Chris.
saying something. So 1,000 team value. We have a tame bear, which Marv will. Well, he says this was alright. I thought it never actually did anything in the game.
It's just a croxicle. It's just a croxicle.
Yeah, it's a croxicle, but the bear is very good because, like, at least mine, it listens to commands, as Tails can tell you.
Yeah. Oh my.
Get through the rest of the roster. The rest of it is linemen and 3 catches. Done. 4 rerolls. Go. Now
That's for me. Yes.
Your opinion as the relative Kislev player.
Yeah. Okay.
Relative resident.
My opinion is, what is this? Because, like, okay, yeah, Kislev, none of your players start with any, let's say, useful skills, like block or something.
Whoa. Diving tackle.
Yes. Yeah, but has he got any of the blitzes on the team? No.
No.
God for that.
That was going to be the point. Though it was the one Kislev player that had useful skills.
Yeah, this is, like... Your blitzes, they are your most versatile piece. They have access to general strength and agility. You can have 4 of them. To start with, you should, like in my opinion and my experiences as I've played this, have at least 2. Because they're also fucking expensive, so where are they?
That might be
by
why.
rerolls, I think.
My setup was no bear, 1 catcher, and 2 blitzes with also 4 rerolls. Yeah, so
Did you think by the end of your season that 4 rerolls was necessary for you?
At the beginning, yes. At the end, no.
Is that because at the end because of the skills that you had, or because you just used it less? You used things like leap less.
Both. Like the skills help, and you learn to judge when leap is useful and when it's just a desperation play.
Yeah. So Aramis, what are your thoughts on this, seeing as this is your brother?
Oh, man.
Yes, spoiler alert.
This
is Aramis's brother. And
Danceable!
What's your first game, Aramis? What's your first game?
It's against him. It's
Yes, danceable. Tomorrow, everybody. We're
Hashtag family feud. It's on the tweet.
Let's just say I'm so happy that diving tackle isn't there. In this
different
case.
elf team.
Having played against Chris a few times in tabletop, it's just fucking. I wish you would have ripped your hair out. He is not.
You played me.
If you've ever played Blood Bowl, you know that there is kind of a way to play Blood Bowl. Christopher takes the Blood Bowl essence and throws it into the road, lets the lorries run over it, picks it back up and throws it off a cliff. There is no typical play you can't counter anything he does because there's nothing to counter because it's completely off the wall cray.
Okay, so I retract my statement and say this is the correct team.
So he said in the stream that to clarify, straight away from the blitzers and for the bear, and to get the extra catcher, which is for much more marvelous plays. Now, having heard what Aramis has said about how he likes to play, and also your point, I think you said it earlier in the stream, but maybe it was in private, about putting things like Dauntless and Wrestle on human catchers to make them really good ball sackers. Give them agility 4 and leap. Now they're amazing ball sackers. And this team is very nowhere is safe now. It's not a strong team in terms of bash.
You have to bear in mind, Shane, as well, because they've got diving catch. If you sack a player, let's say with a normal defender down, that diving catch makes picking up the ball afterwards really easy.
I've never thought about that. Holy smeg, yeah.
They're really good.
Because it's just a drop ball, isn't it? Oh no, it's not. Does it apply to drop balls?
Oh, let me have a look.
I'm sure it doesn't. Doesn't it?
You add +1 to any
pass
targeted to the square.
Yeah, but it's you can attempt to attempt to catch any pass, kickoff, or crowd throwing.
Oh, maybe not.
That's what I thought. I was gonna say because that seems amazing, and I've never realised.
It's basically surf and hope it goes anywhere near one of these three.
Or you can pass to them, but so that's not quite as OP as I was scared it was going to be for a second.
I'm still like the blitzers are vital for this team, and
how expensive are they?
110k.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are really expensive.
Wait, 100 did you say?
110.
110. So they're more expensive tin a reroll. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
They are. But and then again, jump up and diving tackle, and you can do many fun things with that.
I think what I learned from last season as well is, I mean, I've always loved diving tackle as a skill, but playing against you and seeing everybody play against Marv last season, how amazing diving tackle is, just because it's a skill that, because you don't see it that often,
people forget it exists.
People forget about it, and it's devastating. It screwed me up twice when I played you, and it screwed up so many other people against you. Because
I'm glad we still have Jbazza with us to this day. him not dying of that heart attack.
Oh yeah, he did a dodge with a
Tails, did my prof team, I think, got you with your goblins with diving tackle as well quite a few times?
Yes, because I forgot. It's a skill that you forget about easy, and particularly on with most teams, you pay attention to the skills they've gained. But because with the Kislev, they've got, like, if you put the skill tooltips up, like in game, that you've got skills everywhere, and then you've got diving catch and diving tackle that they start with. You're like, oh, level 1 players, they won't have anything scary. It's so easy to forget about, and it's devastating when you're doing a play and you have this great plan, and then it's a -2 to your dodge, and you're like, oh no, dodging with agility 3, I'm now need a 5+. This is terrifying.
But speaking of level 1 players, shall we move on to one of our brand new coaches?
One last comment, and then we can go.
It's a good segue for level 1 players.
Yes, I know.
Coach level 1 as well.
So I am interesting to see how this team develops, since the only thing you need to get are the blitzes. So it's like the apothecary and the blitzes, but blitzes take time, so we'll see.
Yeah, very interesting.
Speaking of taking time, Sauruses.
Yes, back to the second Lizardman team of the 2 divisions. This one, however, different build. What the hell? Where's my Crocs?
Holy skinks, Batman.
No.
Yes, it's the Basilar's Bruises of Monkey Sea, also known, well, in the Discord at least, as just the other Patrick.
I think that's going to be his coach name throughout the season as well, as Patrick, just so you know.
Yeah.
More clear names. Patrick. Thank you, people.
So, a full 1,000 team value, and a very interesting build, actually. 6 Saurus and 5 Saurus.
5 Saurus, which is the scary thing. That's crazy to me. Ignoring the Crocs, fine. Like I have arguments against the Crocs, and he's a good player,
but you're allowed to be wrong. 4 rerolls, I won't. Well, I can't complain with that because you're gonna damn name them.
5 Saurus is very interesting.
5 Saurus 6. I'd have put an apothecary in there.
As well, I know how Jbazza feels, even as the relevant as the resident Lizardman player. But share your thoughts, Jbazza. Very different from your build.
This is death. This is going to die. No offense, Patrick. Those skinks are going to die quickly. You can't protect them. You can't protect them with 5 Saurus.
I mean,
at least with the Croxagore and a 6th Saurus, you can protect those 4 skinks. You can't cover that front line anywhere near enough.
I mean, it's a very interesting build. I don't know if anyone else has got any thoughts on why you would go this route.
It just screams madman to me. Madness and madman.
The thing about it, for me anyway,
you can't kill what you can't catch.
Yes, you can, because you cannot run those guys far enough away, Patrick.
My elves have movement 7.
What makes one of the teams that we've already talked about, and what makes such a good player is the gutter runners. They are like amazing players, and skinks aren't quite gutter runners. but they are nearly as good, and you can have more of them. And having 6 near gutter runners is pretty scary because they have stunty, you ignore tackle zones. So you dodge through tackle zones the same as a gutter runner, you just don't dodge out of them quite as easy. But you have dodge, you have the same armor, and you have nearly as good movement. And the fact that you have so many of them, you can just run the ball away from people with this. You can go from one side of the pitch to the other very quickly when you've got this many skinks, but they are going to be much harder to defend, like you say. But we've also seen
expect at least 2 of those to die in the first few games.
But at the same time, he's got a few of them, so he probably doesn't matter as much, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, there's only a 1 in 6. Well, depending on what games are they playing first? What games? I'm deliberately going to find games.
That's my first opponent.
So high elves
so you're playing elves first, so you find the second game is against. You're playing elves twice. Okay. And
he goes elves, Skaven, Kislev. So he doesn't.
Yeah, if Norse were first, then I'd say those skinks were probably going to die quite quickly. At least 2 of them in that game.
I think he's been very lucky with the fixtures because this team is a little bit susceptible to bash.
Yep.
And there are arguably 4 bashy teams in this league, being Chaos, Nurgle, and Norse, and then arguably my Necromantic as well. And 4 of the last 5 games of those teams. So he's got all the non-bashy teams first, and then all the bashy teams at the end. By which point you'd hope to have an Extrasaurus, you'd hope to have block, you'd hope to maybe get a Croc score if you get lucky. It might work out.
40K, I think
140k.
Very lucky to get one of those.
But that's nearly as much as a reroll. So with 4 rerolls and no skills, 4 rerolls could be amazing with this. Especially with no block.
Potentially would just need them for the pickups because I know full well how difficult it can be to pick up the damn ball with skinks.
Exactly. So you need but then he's also got spare ones for the odd block now. Because normally you'd be like, well, I've only got 2 rerolls, I have to save them for pickups and important things. Whereas now he can be a bit more flippant with his rerolls, especially with the blocks and stuff. So I'm very interested to see how this team's going to develop.
Yes, it'll be one I'm definitely going to watch the progress of.
I'd love to see him put diving tackle on some skinks. I'd love that so much.
Skinks and diving tackle are annoying as hell.
Yeah.
Filth.
And it's with a normal build where you only have 4 skinks, you're like, right, maybe 2 ball handlers and then maybe 2 with that. Guess this, you've got so many options with the skink. Excuse me, because you have so many of them.
Yeah, and you know what's annoying as hell? We already discussed it. It's 4 gutter
runners.
The next team.
4 gutter runners.
The expired Cheetos. Skaven team by JD. Ooh. Again, it's a standard build. It's
the same build as the Division 1 Skaven team. Oh no, the first Skaven team. It's not Division 1. I'm confused.
Yeah, Apothecary 3 rerolls as well. It's standard.
Or is it?
Standard Skaven.
Standard Skaven. Not much to see.
Just Dog's a new coach for this league. Marv, you've played a few games against him.
1.
Okay, you played a game against him.
I've lost.
He's a new player to Blood Bowl, though, is he?
I've lost 2-0 with the worst team in the game, so isn't much to go on. I think just from 1 game. Yeah, I think he's pretty new, but from that game I saw that he understands the game.
Yeah,
so.
I don't think he's new to miniature gaming in general, but
I
don't know what experience with Blood Bowl. I think he's got it.
He's got a tabletop team that I know. I think he got the dwarves.
I think anyone that has a tabletop team, you assume, knows how to play relatively well. To be honest, because the tabletop community is not large.
Yeah, I think he's still pretty new, but he plays miniature games and he knows how this game works. He's got it explained to him by somebody that's not me as well, because there were things in the game. Because I covered the basics and it was like, oh yeah, okay, this is working pretty well. So who else Who else got you some info?
Speaking of Just Dog, you need to sign up to the website. I've pinged you twice. Do it.
Look, JD has got a wedding to plan, so we
have I.
That is true.
Yeah, but you're the tech guy. You've already signed up to the website.
It's true, yeah. Next.
And the last team of Division 2.
Oh, Chaos. I love a good Chaos team. Love a good Chaos team. We have the Corns Berserkers of...
Vapor. Vapor is the coach name.
Also, yeah, coach name Vapor.
My favourite logo.
More Germans.
Yes, more German players.
Well, how many German players have we got? We've got like
5
out of the 20 or something. 5?
Got 6 German players out of the 20.
Alex, Felix, Shit Pitcher, me,
Vapor and Blade Shaken.
Yeah.
We're all German. At least, and that's just the ones I know about. Don't know how many other secret Germans there are out there.
As I said, the G in GRUMBBL's for German.
Secret German, isn't that just Secret Hitler?
Yeah.
Hey.
Anyway, team value 1,000 with what's this? It's not all in order.
Annoyingly ordered.
1 Minotaur, 4 Chaos Warriors, and the rest Beastmen with 1 reroll. That's 2 Fan Factor though, and a coach assistant. That's basically
Also,
all but what I took.
Also, somebody that plays the game in German.
Yes.
We did notice that.
Because some of the names are, I looked at them and I was like, they look weird. Oh, they're German.
Well, I must admit, my Stingelmark, I do like that name. that gets a very puerile laughter out of me. So I'm not complaining that name's probably because it's in German. But
Yeah. I think Dinglemark, the only thing that would change for the English client is the E and the L would switch places. I think that name still exists in English.
Pretty much.
Or it's Danglemark there, I think.
As well, the Mish or Mish.
Yeah.
So Jbazza, resident Chaos player. Thoughts on the comp?
It's standard. I mean, you either go Minotaur and less rerolls, or no Minotaur, more rerolls.
Yeah, that was the thing I was confused at, because I always thought, well, I was unsure why there was only 1 reroll, but then I couldn't figure out how you'd get more without being rid of the Minotaur. I feel like 1 reroll's risky as hell with no skills.
Well, yeah, it's basically how well do you play? How well can you play? Because you know me, I go with generally 1 or 2 rerolls on most of my new teams as standard anyway, so I'm used to playing with next to no rerolls. And then I'll blow it on like a block on the first turn because screw it. Why not?
Thanks, Nuffle.
So,
there is 2 fan factor though, so you might get a couple of the kickoff.
Yeah, 2 fan factor.
That's true.
But
you can't rely on that.
I'd have probably saved it for an apothecary because armor rate on the Minotaur, you don't want that guy getting injured. He's 150k. So I might put 1 fan factor in and then just hope to roll a 3 after the first game.
I think having 2 fan factors is interesting because it makes it much more likely that you will get a reroll on those kickoff events, which is not a bad strategy for a team that can only get 1 reroll. It is just luck dependent, I suppose, on rolling a 6 or an 8 on a kickoff.
The Minotaur itself is the main difference between Chaos teams. The competitive teams don't tend to go for a Minotaur.
Yeah.
As in the ones that are being built ultra competitively tend not to go for Minotaur. I like them. I like Minotaurs purely because of Frenzy, Mighty Blow, Horns, and Thick Skull as well. It's like, you're not going to have him just moving around. You're going to have him blocking or blitzing, so having Wild Animal doesn't really matter. It's just don't roll a 1.
Yeah, but with Horns, like the way I see it is, so with Horns, like with Wild Animal, as you said, you want to use the Blitz on the Minotaur, but like Horns isn't as good on him as it's on the Beastman, in my opinion.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you'd rather
you make sure he's always stood next to someone, or you push people into him.
So you'd rather blitz with the Beastman, right? Because that's more bang for your buck, basically.
Whilst I don't disagree that obviously blitzing with your Beastman's great because it's like a free spent 4-piece, what the Minotaur is great at, and a lot of people might overlook, if you can level him up once, you can get him Claw, right? So you've got Claw Mighty Blow, which is terrifying.
And people tend to go pile on as well.
Well, if you just think the one level up, which is like not too hard to get, getting more than one's difficult when you rely on casualties. But you give him Claw. If you use Horns as a blitz, you can now hit any other big guy with 2 dies twice because of Frenzy, and you're breaking his armor on a 6. That is a big guy remover right there, because you can just 2-die big guys without any assists, and that is surprisingly scary.
Provided you don't knock him back into another assist.
Yeah, like you've got to take the Frenzy into account, but it's not too hard to get 2 sets of 2 dies on a big guy, and then you're breaking his armor on, I think it's 7, sorry. You need a 7 or more, which is pretty reliable. The only big guy that isn't affected, I think, is the Treeman, but we don't have any yet. But yeah, so it's some people think that Horns is wasted on the Minotaur, but that is actually a surprisingly good thing, because where does everybody put their big guys? On the line. What's the first thing you're going to do with the Minotaur? Hit their big guy.
Because normally they're going to be facing each other.
Yeah.
Well, or if not facing each other, the Minotaur's going to be within blitzing distance.
I think the big thing with this team is going to come down to I don't want to say luck, because that is just Blood Bowl, but it's like if you drop the ball once or twice, if you use up that reroll, you can be in big trouble very quickly, especially in this league where you've got 2 elves, Kislev, Skaven. With those gutter runners, you do not want to drop the ball in your own half. you're just going to lose.
Rerolls are 120k as well. You lose 1 Chaos Warrior and you're back at 2 rerolls almost.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you lose like a Chaos Warrior here, you almost have to live without, because I think you have to go for rerolls probably.
Yeah, you have to get up to at least 2 rerolls and then start rebuying players.
Either that, or you hope for skill ups and you go for all the reroll skills. You go for sure hands. You go for block isn't a reroll, but it's like a safety net. You go for block.
Yeah, that's the good thing. One of those beastmen will go with the sure hands, and then big hands and extra arms. And then another beastman will go with claw, mighty blow, pile on.
Death.
Another one will probably go with prehensile tail just for the sheer hell of it, because why not?
This team's gonna be hella scary in a couple
season
of time.
3.
Yeah.
Murder Chaos are renowned for being terrifying. You just got to get there.
What was my how well they can at the end of season 2? Let me go find it.
It was like level 3 or something, but I think he got lucky with a few MVPs, but he did work, if I remember rightly.
Oh, he definitely did work. I'm just trying to find the damn thing. Oh, did they go back to... Let me find it. Yeah, here. No, that's not him.
Well, either way, I think this team's going to be one to watch to develop. My
Minotaur at the end of season 3 ended with break tackle and tentacles. He had tentacles because of Aurora's damned Amazons.
Tentacles.
Yeah, that was. To be fair, that Chaos team was the only team that managed to stop those Amazons from winning all their games in the league. And that was purely because Aurora was so scared of tentacles on that Minotaur that it just put her off moving any of the Amazons anywhere near him, which is what helped me draw that game.
Hence why we're going back to the Beast of Nurgle being amazing, because tentacles is such a terrifying skill. It's such a mind game. That's such an important part of Blood Bowl, is the mind game.
And then I also got a strength 4 dodge beastman as well in there, so you know.
Filth.
Yep. 2 strength 5 players on one team. What Camry is this?
So that's our last team.
That's it. Teams.
It's all Division 2, guys.
All of our teams, and it only took us 2.5 hours.
2 hours 29 minutes.
Yeah, just as planned.
Pretty good though. So
yeah,
considering we started late. Yeah,
I'm very excited. For both of these divisions. I'm going to be following them both very closely.
Yep. So it comes to predictions. I'm going to say let's go with the top 4 for each division. Let's not guess.
Yeah, we can't order them all.
Bottom. So I'll say top 4 for each division, starting with Division 1. What are your thoughts? And then we'll each just say what we think will be top 4.
Aramis has thought this through, so I think we should let him go first, because I'm going to depend mine. For me, it also comes down to fixtures. The order in which you play things can have
I'll go through Division 1 first. I'm going to put my money on Adam Adekal again, which may have jinxed him last season, but I think he has got a really good shot. I think he did really well with his undead. I think that he will be very effective as Necro. A little bit more movement, a little bit more versatility will definitely benefit him. Again, so he'll I think if he doesn't finish top 4, I'll be very surprised. If he doesn't finish first or second, I'll also be quite surprised. Second will probably, I think, the Sons of Lustria. There you go, Jbazza. You're on my list. I think Lizardman will do pretty well this season. I think they're good enough to get past the Doors and Kel's Doors, really. And obviously, knowing how Jbazza plays Lizardman, I think that'll be pretty good. I have to put Figgy and the Dark Elves up there. I think Dark Elves are pretty damn strong. Certainly in a low team value as well. They will definitely be up there. And I think I'm gonna put. It's down between Alex and Aurora, but I think I'm gonna put Aurora up there. The Wood Elves in the Division 1 top 4 as well. So there's that. Any questions on that? You questioning my motives? Nope. No.
Okay, then, Tails, what's your opinion?
Having looked through, it's a tough call. Particular things like Dwarves are always scary, but we got a very brashy league and a new coach that I have no idea. I think he plays Dwarves fairly regularly, but we don't know how good of a coach these players are because we have new coaches. I would agree that I would definitely put Jbazza in the top 4 because he's done well with Khemri and Chaos in the past, and I think Lizardman's his main team. I would disagree with Aurora in the top 4 in comparison to Aramis's, and it's only because it's not that she isn't a good player, because she really is. And this is just personal preference, I think Wood Elves are so squishy, and she's admitted to me that she's new to Wood Elves, like they're not a team that she regularly plays, that I personally find Wood Elves very punishing. I cannot use them well unless you're playing Resurrection in like a league format, and so I fear that particularly in this division that she's just going to suffer with casualties, and I just think that's going to be too punishing. But I kind of hope to be proved wrong, because it'd be nice to see the Elves do well, seeing as we kind of lacked them last season. I think CZ is going to be in the top 4 with his Undead. I think Undead are a very strong team. I think Lizardmen Undead are going to be in the top 4. I actually think King Phalanx with his Orcs, with how well he did with his Khemri last season, I think playing a game that he's used to playing, I think the Orcs will be up in the top 4. So for me, it's going to be Undead, Lizardmen, Orcs. I'd probably put. I'm going to put my money on Nurgle being in the top 4 as well, because I think Claw is going to make all the difference in that league. With so much high strength, I think Claw is going to do wonders, and Nurgle's got it for spades. Out of them, what order do I put them in?
I wouldn't even say you need to put them in an order.
Yeah, I don't think I could really call it. I think those will be my top 4 placed teams. So, love to hear what people think.
My top 4, as you before, I'm having difficulties deciding this because I've not seen I've not seen half the division play basically, or not seen them play these teams. So I know who's just from a gut feeling, I say my top 4 in no particular order because orders not possible. Is Dark Elves, Necro, Orcs, and Lizardmen. I think Adam's gonna come back with a vengeance.
Yeah, I really agree with that.
Divvot, do you feel like you want to?
No, I'm staying out of this.
I wouldn't want to try and predict our own league, so I'm asking, do you Are you with me on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
The verdict of our co-hosts.
Yeah, I believe I won't be in the top 4. I believe I won't be in the top 8. I believe I won't be in the top 9.
I mean, you are playing
for relegation
team.
So, look, I gotta play the long con. I gotta come back in a few seasons and be like, behold.
You're gonna be a little bit like Crystal Palace, just relegation battles every season.
Yeah, I mean, and from where I'm sitting, there are 10 teams that could be in the top 5. You can't call it. It's going to be very close, I think.
I think that's the good thing about both divisions. They're highly.
I think teams 1 to 6 in this league will be very, very close.
Yeah,
and the bottom 4 will just be unlucky that they were the teams that got not shit on, but got the worst end of the luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, like, calling the top 4 is like okay because you think like, oh, these teams are going to do better. But like, if you tried to say to me,
the teams and go, oh shit, which of these guys are more likely?
Yeah, but if you look at me and go, which of these 3 teams are going to get relegated? It's like, to be honest, I think they're all going to be so close. It is going to come down to luck. Like the top teams, you can be kind of cool, but I think everything's going to be so close across the board that.
I know Alex is very afraid of relegation.
I think every team should be. I'm not going to lie. I don't think there's any team that's like, yes, I'm going to do it. This league's going to be good. Like, I don't think there's any team there that shouldn't be scared of like at least multiple other teams.
So let's move on then to Division 2, which I feel is only going to be, if we're following the same suit, me and Divvot giving our predictions.
Yeah, I'm fine. Aramis might want to, but I'm fine.
Yeah, I'm going to. I've basically got a prediction without me in it.
Yeah.
So we start from 2 downwards then for Aramis. So in second place, Aramis is going to go with. I'm joking. And let me guess, your prediction for number 10th is the Kislev team.
Totes, yeah. Kislev get relegated. Kislev get relegated into the Wood League.
Into the Wood League.
Into the Dirt League.
Beyond lower than bronze.
I think I'm going to put Shane up there, obviously, because just through experience, mostly, and obviously doing very well in the last couple of seasons. I think it's hard for me to judge, but I think one of the Skaven teams get there as well, because I think Skaven are just really, really good, and I'm going to put Marv in there as well, because just High Elves are just going to pull out some bullshit out of their asses and just throw themselves into Division 1.
I'd like to throw my penny in there
kids, don't pull skeletons out of your asshole.
Especially not the bony ones. That fucking hurts.
I'm going to throw my 2 cents in there and say that, like, I would definitely call Marv to be in the top. I definitely call Marv to be promoted just because of what he did with Kislev last season. Except
which
now
teams get promoted to the top
3. But what he did with Kislev last season was amazing, and then to have basically that, but with Agility 4 across the board, I feel like the plays he's going to pull out. I think unless he gets unlucky, I'd be surprised if he wasn't in there.
I mean, I will be dead honest. I could see Chris fighting for that as well, just through sheer stubbornness. Just through stubbornness. So,
Divvot, what do you think?
It's real tricky.
Yeah.
There's less bash. So it's not like you could just eliminate some teams right out of the way. If Norse get lucky, then I believe, they'll do alright. And the fact they have a lot of...
if Norse roll 2 12s, 2 double sixes over 2 players.
Yeah, but like Norse don't have a lot of super bash at the start. They don't have the lizards until late, the chaos until later on. They don't have the Nurgle till a bit later on as well. So they've got some time to get more established. So they are a wild card. I'd probably put them 5th or 6th, honestly, though. And in the top 4, it's the other 3 in Reaper. It's got to be those 3 in Reaper. Reapers, as you said, come length and bounds, and coming in with a Nurgle team in a kind of very passy division is going to work wonders for him. And then you've got Aaron the Elf King playing elves. Tails just seems to have a way with things. They just work for him in the most infuriating way. And then, of course, you have the Marvelous Marv, and as Tails said, playing a super Kislev team. With no lead.
The thing is, from where I'm sitting, knowing what Chaos can do, I would automatically just put Chaos at least top half. I think, obviously not knowing the standard of the player, but from playing from pretty much the exact same team build almost. Yeah, that can go very well, especially in a league with as low armor as there's a couple of mighty below, and you're sorted.
Yeah.
So many expectations on me.
Yeah, so I put the chaos in there. I don't know what to make of Patrick's solicitors. I want to see that do well. If
I
only
would
so
really
I have a
like
chance
to see
put
that
it in its
kick
place
ass.
in the next league, but no, I can't. I can't say that will get top 3 at least. Maybe. Yeah. No, my top 4 would be. It'd be one of the Skaven, the Chaos, then probably the Necro, and one of the Elf teams.
Ooh.
Would be my top 4. One of the Elf teams.
Oh, only one of
I
Aramis
do
and Marv is getting through.
Only
really
one.
want to see the Nurgle up there, but yeah, I don't know really how this is going to go because of that. The Nurgle can easily get up there, the Chaos can easily get up there, but I think it will either be Chaos or Nurgle, Necro, one of the Skaven, and one of the Elves. Which is not helpful, but again, it comes down to luck. Which one of those does better than the other almost?
Whose dice? No, whose dice does Nuffle shine upon?
I mean, if it is to decide between the 2 elves, high elves naturally are up higher, right? So that's
God.
if it were the same points.
I think we should end it there.
Can I just say?
Yeah, we do have one little word about.
Well, I was going to say, can I just say that in regards to the league, no matter who you think's going to win, how close it's going to be, what's going to happen, I am so excited to see how this turns out. I think this is going to be a hell of a season to watch, and I think everybody should be checking out even the division they're not in. If you're a coach or if you're a viewer, watch all of them, because I feel like there is a lot of tension.
Thanks.
And whilst it is Division 1 and 2, everybody's at the same level. So the top teams of Division 1 are going to be just as strong as the top teams of Division 2.
And you should definitely keep an eye out for the division, because you have the cup, where all the divisions will meet in the middle.
And if you haven't got the time to watch those matches, then watch this podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. We will do our best to cover most of what we've watched.
Yes.
And what we haven't, but we will guess in those cases.
Also, shout out to all of our players who've been busy organizing their games already, which is great. But also, don't do it all on Mondays!
Let Shane say his piece, then we can end this disaster of a podcast.
I think I was wanted to say something. Sorry. But,
no, it's fine. I was going to say, what would be your predictions for the season 3 Victor, as in like top of the Division 1 season 3? But
oh my god,
deal with that at the end of the league.
Oh,
Jesus.
Actually, just very, very quickly to do on that, cup finalists. Who do you think will be in the final?
Oh,
Bearing in mind that you guys in both divisions.
No.
Next episode.
5 to 11 or 5 to 12 in Europe.
Fair.
Next episode.
Talk about organising the matches, the streamers, and submitting results.
Yeah, just very quickly, because I think most people know by now, judging by how they've been acting in the Discord, but this is mainly for the coaches watching. You should doubly check the announcements and the Season 1 info chats on Discord. They've got important information about submitting the games and stuff. As you'll see, there is a scheduled matches channel, an organising matches channel. Use the organising matches to organise your games, and please be aware that we are trying to stream every game. This is a big task, but we're going to attempt to do it. But as a part of that, please be considerate about what other games are going on at similar times to you, and try and organise your games to not be at the same time. It's inevitably going to happen, but just be aware of it as a coach trying to organise the games. Like we've got, I think, 5 games organised already, and 3 of which are on Monday, which are tomorrow. I think maybe even 4. So
there's 3 tomorrow.
There's definitely 3, and I think there was talks of a 4th.
Please no.
I think that got reorganised.
I think everyone's getting quite excited though.
Either way, and I don't blame people for getting excited and want to play their games. But just bear that in mind, that if we're trying to stream it all on that we can only match so many games
I think
per
at the
day.
moment we got 3 tomorrow, 1 on Tuesday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Friday. Organised so far.
But obviously linked to that, playing your game is more important than us streaming it. So if the only day you can do is Monday, please organise it for Monday. Don't not play.
You can stream them yourselves. We're not stopping anyone from streaming them themselves from their own point of view.
Yes, that was the other point I was going to make, is that feel free to stream your own games as well. In fact, that might even help us, because then we can nick those lads.
But also, if a coach doesn't want their voice to appear on stream, then please respect that. If you still want to be in a voice chat and talk to one of the other coaches that's watching, yeah, feel free.
Yeah.
But
Feel free to talk to whoever's streaming as well.
Don't feel forced that you must be on stream.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So if you don't want your voice heard on stream, or you don't want to talk in voice chat if you're feeling unwell or something like that, just let whoever's streaming know. In the schedule matches channel, it does say who is streaming that game and if it's going to be casted as well. So just keep an eye out on that, and I highly encourage, as hopefully the talk, if you've managed to last this long as a coach, well done. But I highly encourage you to get involved at least some of the streams of some of the other teams, because it's going to be an interesting league, and I think you should get involved with all the streams. The only last thing to touch on is, I won't explain it here because it will take too long, but look at the Season 1 info tab and look at how the cup is seeded. This league is broken down into 2 stages, a league stage followed by a cup stage. I've mentioned it many times. The cup stage is seeded by the league. So have a look at how that seeding takes place, because it might affect how you want to play your games and how important the final places are. Obviously, that'll become more relevant later in the season, but it's always worth knowing now. Deadline for the first set of games to submit your results is Sunday, and coaches must submit their results on the website. I think most people have signed up. Aramis?
Everyone but JD.
Okay. Not to call him out, but besides JD. But if you're all signed up to the website now, there is a document that tells you how to submit your results.
There is a PDF. Look through the PDF. It's piss easy. It's piss easy.
It's piss easy, but please do it, because it's really important and really, really helps us.
Saves a lot of time.
It saves a hell of a lot of time and a lot of faffing about. And it's going to be a requirement this season, whereas past seasons we've kind of let it slide. This season we're knuckling down on it. So please submit your results as soon as you've played the game. And if you're unsure about how to do that, contact myself or Aramis. But there is I think it's in the BB announcements, but I will chuck in info as well. So yes, I'm not going to say any more because it will take too long. But if you have any questions about the league, if you're unsure of anything, there's a rules page, and also feel free to message me. I can breathe again.
Hey.
Ooh.
So thank you everyone for staying this 2 hours 45 minutes almost to watch.
Well done. If you managed to make it through the entire thing.
Yeah,
Crazy people.
like this. Normally we will try and keep the podcast to at most 2 hours.
Yes.
It's because it'll be on a Monday night. And
And you won't have me and Aramis.
Yeah.
you won't have those two
Talking
taking up all the
forever.
time talking and being
Us.
smart about Blood Bowl.
We should start our own podcast, but it would be like 5 hours long. I'm just gonna let you know.
Yeah, what we gonna call it? The Grumble.
The GRUMBBL cast, and we're just
Yeah,
gonna moan about shit for 5 hours.
We're going to moan about this podcast and we'll moan about your podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Sweet.
Podcast wars.
So yes, Mondays 8 p.m. Which means that if you do schedule matches on a Monday, you're clearly not watching us, and that is very, very disloyal.
Boo.
It hurts us. It hurts us in our hearts.
Aw.
Especially because Divvot's one of the streamers, so he won't be streaming your match.
I mean,
And we will have one of the channels set aside for it, so yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for being around. Thank you for staying for 2 hours 45 minutes to listen to us chat rubbish.
yay.
So, I've been Jbazza. This has been Marv and Divvot. Say
Hello.
bye.
Bye.
But goodbye.
And thank you to our guests, Mr. Seven-Tailed Wolf and Mr. Aramis. Ta-da!
Bye.